Hello everyone, welcome. I am RxOliver. These are my friends, and we're playing The One Ring. This is the Looming Threat, Session 6. I'm here with the whole gang tonight. It's Max, David, Therator, Marshall, and the Lore Master, Brian. Take it away, sir.
It is the 17th of Chithing in the 2965th year of the Third Age, and our company rises from comfortable if basic bunks in the barracks tents of the Dunedain. A hearty breakfast is had, and there is much merriment in the camp, for all that the threat of the enemy hangs over the ruins of Anuminas. Several matters of concern had been brought to the company's attention: the growing number of orc raids into the ruins below the encampment, the need of Raval, the quartermaster, for arms and equipment, and his desire to delve into the barrows of their ancestors to put their tools to work again. Eldwin's mention of a missing elf in the ancient fields of battle between here and Fornost-Urain, and Gilrain's concern for the Rangers of the Angle, far to the southeast, and a possible business venture, an abandoned mine of interest to Dahlgren, a traveling smith. As the camp wakes, a sense of adventure and the promise of many tales swells with the morning light.
Come on, everybody,
so
finish
we
up.
begin.
We need to get off. Come on. Suns are wasting.
No, I'm already outside waiting on you guys. I'm just finishing writing up and then kind of close it up.
Yes, and speaking of Max finishing writing something, I think we will start with Sargon's journal entry before we move into our next steps.
Nice.
Yeah, as my fellow compatriots are sleeping about, I wake up a little early, probably with a low fire. One of the cook fires is sitting there. Somebody's making breakfast stuff, and Sargon is writing a little journal with you see it's little ink spots here and there. Like most elves, they're very, graceful and stuff like that. He's a little odd compared to the rest of his kin, but he sits there and just his eyes kind of focus out a little bit and kind of remembering from where he's coming from to now. His first general entry, traveling for a while, we headed to the flawless city of Anuminas with the guidance of our small dwarven friend Derek. Recent events have shown me how much I do not know, yet even with the time I've lived. I look to my cousin at times for the experience he has with him, the guidance. I have been so excited to run into the different ruins and treasures that we have come upon. Airthil is like a close cousin, even though he is a man, with great honor and strength inside of him. The units of our group has a sharp wit and tongue of words that could write songs among the wind. That's yours.
Echo, yes.
I forgot his name, so that's kind of out there. This journey
youngest of the group, definitely.
Yeah, that's why I said youngest of the group. This journey could be a long one. Many stories have been told or have read at some point. I wish to learn the great history of our lands, to pass on what I have learned and help others later. As we have been traveling, Erithel went to search for some food. Finding a deer out in the ill lands is a boon unto itself. We continue to journey to the city, stopping into an old battlefield. I stood there looking at what could have been a great battle. I could feel the feelings left by those long past and pray for the rest for their next life. My cousin Orlon went to look about the area, finding tracks of one of our kin. Strange that their tracks moved about the area to look for something. We chose to leave the manor for now to hurry to our destination. I am excited to look onto the ruins of the great city and may find something interesting. Gladly, our little friend didn't point us in the wrong direction. As we came upon the great bridge, the view was without words. We traveled along and walked through the city as I watched carefully around us. With the many places of loss, I couldn't compare to what I was before my eyes. I wished so badly to explore the area, but this isn't my home. Come to a large hill leading up to what was told to me the ruins of their former king. I stayed quietly as the others talked to the men of the encampment. We were led to the fair lady Gilrain, leader of the group here. There were talks of many issues and how our travels came to be here. Erisol wished to report to her about the matters of the great dark wolf we borrowed that Derek with the others nearly took down. We took some time to rest and train our skills from those here and among ourselves. During that time, with the help of a new friend, I acquired some new armor of great make and I was very impressed and thanked them. The others spent time talking to different peoples among the camp. Derek seemed to have found a new friend, another dwarf, from what I hear is the blacksmith for them. The great spear we found was given to them from Erisol for a great boon to him. His father's bride was given great honor and strength to help him with the incoming battle. We asked the great lady. We were asked to meet with the great lady. To ask if she could be our. She asked if she could be our patron. Everyone agreed, and that it was nice to have some help out here as we traveled. It was asked if another one of our. It was asked if one of our kin visit the area, as we found tracks in the area. We were told a female elf came to the sea to learn what she could about finding something through what we do not know. The Lady Gilrain has added a task for us to look into her distant people, the Angel. Out west, word has not been heard from them for some time. Orlon was given a letter to be passed to someone in Rivendell when we were in that area. I was anxious to ask if we could look around the ruins before we left. The others seemed to be okay with it, and with the lady's blessing we could. Derek seemed to like the idea of killing some orcs, even if they were in the area. When the moment was clear, Derek discussed us about an old dwarven mine north in the mountains. I looked to the others to see, I looked at the others as something we could look into later. We talked among ourselves that we will head out to search the ruins of the city before heading out. Along the way, check the old battle site if there's any signs of the woman heading out to check the Angel. So that's it.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Well done.
Very good.
I don't write much of it. I mean, at least I try to do something.
It was good, mate. Well done.
Yeah, very good.
Wonderful. Oh, I like being called one of the young ones.
I'm maybe not so keen on being called the short one,
in
but
the forehead, maybe.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like anything bad. It was just jokingly. It's like, the small one.
oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine because the viewers heard the journal. Derek didn't hear you call him the small one. I'm not reading your journal, so I don't know about that.
All right. So, yeah, what are you guys doing?
I turned to
I'm
wait for the
chivying
others
them
right there.
along. We need to get moving.
To where?
Well,
I
there's
thought we
barrows to the north.
Well, I
Northeast.
said I thought we were looking to the ruins.
Well,
of
there are the
city first.
barrows. There's also the ruins themselves.
How do we get to the main map?
The ruins.
Yeah, can we go back to the city map? Because I think that would probably help us out or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think the
Sure,
ruins. You were
we
just
can do that.
concerned about
Um,
a possible route in for the orcs, but we don't know them.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
the quartermaster wants us to go and try and find some more weapons, etc., because they're running short. So I think probably best to do that. Don't you think? I mean, that's a concrete thing we can do.
Was that the first job that we were going to do? Because there's a few things we could do here, but there's one we could do before we leave. Because they did want us to have a look
Two
around
you can
in
do
the.
before you leave.
There's two we could do before we leave because they wanted us to have a look around in the ruins. They were keen for that.
Well,
Yeah.
no.
Well,
that you suggested having a
Sargon was keen for that,
exactly.
but there were also concerns about the orc raids into the ruins, and some of you brought up the idea that perhaps they're coming in from underground, from like the basements of some of the
storehouses
houses and whatnot. So I mean, that's a possibility. You were told that there is another visitor to the camp who spends a lot of her time down in the ruins, who might be able to help you. Maybe she's found such a tunnel or something like that. But then also, yes, going into the Ydain Barrows, there is a concern about entering the Barrows because, of course, I'll let you figure this out if you want to ask around. Nobody's really asked anybody about the Barrows. You've only talked to Rabal.
I think I can probably
Gilrain
guess what the problem
was
is.
reticent to let people go into the barrows.
If people are buried with their weapons as a sign of respect, then going and taking them would be a sign of disrespect. But
Well, actually, that's not true. So, I don't want to encourage all-out looting, but it is actually very common in Middle-earth, and you see it many times in the books, of heroes essentially using grave weapons, using weapons of previous heroes that they recover from barrows or from lost hoards and things like that. So Gilrain's not... You didn't get the sense that Gilrain was against the idea of re-equipping the rangers and possibly even local folk with the tools of the Numenorians. She seemed concerned about people even going into the barrows.
More of a safety thing than it was a respect thing.
Would my folklore give me any idea as to why, or
It could. So, actually, I think with folklore would work. Also, anybody with knowledge of the shadow can attempt to make an appropriate roll.
I believe there wasn't there like a
Lore.
historian or something in here?
Yeah, let's say lore.
I have Shadow Lore and I've got 2 dots.
One pep in
would
lore.
it be lore
So,
or insight?
Shadow lore will let you make a lore check to think about this, as will folklore. If you want to gain the bonus for your shadow lore or folklore, keep in mind you still have to spend a point of hope.
Right.
We got 5. We got 5 floating like things, anyways.
Yes, your hope is your fellowship points are currently restored to 5.
Okay. So would it be lore or insight with my folklore?
I'll let you do either one actually, whichever
Because
one
it's
you
my
feel
distinctive
is.
feature. What are my
Yeah.
distinctive
Is
features?
enemy lore
So-
orcs going to be any good here?
Not with regard to the Dane Barrows. That might help you if you wanted to have a think about where you might find orcs getting into the ruins.
I shall twiddle with my beard and have a think then.
Okay.
Okay, I shall use a hope point bonus.
Same here.
So how would I apply the enemy lore orcs thing? Just roll
So
them all.
again, I'm gonna let you make a lore check just for having that distinctive feature. But if
Right.
you want to gain the bonus on top of that, you have to spend a point of hope. And which you will do when you make the roll. It'll ask you, you know, do you want to use a distinctive feature or whatever, and then you'll be able to do it.
Okay.
Max, so I see your question in the chat tab. What do you mean paste something on the notes?
Oh, no,
no,
he's
that was
sorted.
the
That was
stuff
from
earlier.
before.
Yeah, we started.
Oh, okay.
That was for his journal.
All right.
Okay,
Oh,
given
gotcha,
the time
gotcha,
I'm using my insight because I've got folklore. Presumably, I don't get a bonus for having folklore.
So again,
Correct.
if you want to spend the point of hope to gain that bonus, you can. But having
Well, I am.
folklore lets you make the lore check regardless.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could Derek
okay,
help him
let's
at all?
roll.
I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking about where orcs are getting in. I'm having my own little powwow
So
with myself.
let's start. Okay. Yeah.
Ooh.
Whoever made that roll.
Hello.
Okay, nice.
Eggle. Oh, great
Great
success.
success.
Excellent.
Um,
So, and let's go ahead and have Erithil make his check if he's going to do so,
Alright.
thinking about
Yep.
shadow lore.
Oh.
Not quite so good.
Nope.
So, I'm gonna give a little bit of this to you just because you have shadow lore for Erithil. But I guess, you know, if Erithil and Egil are kind of thinking about this, like, why could the Barrows be such a problem? So there's a couple of things going on. One, yes, Egil, understandably, thinking about the concern of, you know, disrespecting anyone and ancestors and all that stuff. That's a good line of thinking. But the Dunedain are actually very practical. And when it comes to the equipment of their ancestors, which often were very well made, and in some cases even potentially enchanted, as you've recently found. I forget its name. Aranar, Erithil's father's blade to be.
Sword, yeah, Aranar.
So you can be respectful. At least the Dunedain believe this. You can be respectful while still retrieving weapons for the intent of using them against the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
The problem is that with very apparent signs that the shadow is rising, you both realize that could mean, for good or ill, there could be spirits rising in those barrows.
Mm-hmm.
And though they may be ancestor spirits, they may not be happy. And they, there are very rare tales of
Friendly ghosts.
friendly wraiths. Most tales of wraiths and barrows are very negative.
Yeah.
And so you may have to... Gilrain may have been concerned that the shadow might be influencing some of the resting spirits.
Well, would it not be best to know that rather than just be uncertain? Because
sure.
if they know, then they can take action to try and deal with it, surely.
That's also very true, yeah.
Ask the elves for assistance in dealing with the spirits.
Yep.
Oh, with respect, yes.
Yeah. So, Oliver,
with
do
my
you want to make...
folklore,
go ahead.
I will try to figure out the best way to do this respectfully. Best I can, anyway.
Sure. I think you would know enough that, and especially with Erithil's help, you would know several placating phrases or phrases of respect that you could potentially use before entering a barrow. Entering a barrow.
Dedicated wham.
And and encountering anything that might have risen within. How effective that might be depends on how long the shadow of the enemy is and how much it's affecting the area. But you feel like there are some things that you could do so respectfully now that you've sat down with Erithil and kind of taken the time to think about it.
I shall speak to him and learn the correct phrases and commit them to memory.
Okay. Then, in addition to that, Oliver, if you want to make a lore test to think about what might be happening with the orcs, that's not bad.
16.
So
bang on.
You are fairly certain that if the orcs are raiding the lower ruins, and there's no... I mean, you all didn't see any sign of any war party or war band when you came into Numinos, and none of the rangers have indicated that they've seen any sizable force approaching from any direction. I mean, they have a wonderful vantage up here in the ruins. So you are decidedly certain that they're tunneling in somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And being that they've been encountered in the ruins, they have to be coming up from some basements or something down in the ruins.
And they're coming up straight into the town. So we're talking about the ruins that are right here. They're coming up.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go, boys! Screw it. Yeah. Screw the barrows. Screw the spirits, wraiths. We don't care about them. We've got orcs to kill. Orcs!
You can't kill the dead already anyway.
I'll give that a good try.
Well, I think we need to check the barrows for goods and also spirits, because if there are spirits and they unite with the orcs, that could be really bad. So, divide and conquer. Let's deal with the spirits first.
They cannot.
If there are any.
They cannot ally with the orcs if the orcs are dead. There you go.
Or if their passage into the city is disrupted somehow.
But hopefully we'd only be dealing with one square at a time, rather than kind of hundreds of orcs.
Well, an idea then. Why not investigate the potential tunnel? If we do find one, either we can close it quickly ourselves, or we can alert the other Dunedain and they can take whatever action is necessary. And then we can go and investigate the barrows and decide from there what our next course of action is.
I'm already under
I will remind you all that you all are. It's a very big city, and I'll remind you all that you all are heroes. I don't mind talk about like, just let the Dunedain know, and they'll handle it.
No,
you're heroes.
No, we're.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you think I'm going to just find some orcs and then leave them for someone else to kill? Come on now.
No, he's more knocking my axe.
Yeah, I think Aerithel would be more of the lines of, if we find something, we manage to, knock it out, bury it, whatever, they could post a guard. That, they at least know it's there.
I think we're probably better going for the spirits because, no offense, Derek, but I know you, and if you find a tunnel full of orcs,
I'm only going in one direction when I see an orc. You're not getting me back out that tunnel until every orc is dead. You're correct, Eggle. You are correct.
Yes, but you will probably want to follow it all the way back to where they came from.
Yeah, I want to kill their parents and their grandparents.
For once, I'm agreeing with Master Dwarf Derek here. We need to find the tunnel and make sure they come. Like, the longer we give them time, the more progress they make.
Well, I mean, I hate to suggest it, but you could always split up.
No.
Split the group. Never a good thing. Never a good thing.
So, yeah, I agree with Derek. We need to find the tunnels quickly and stop them. If you go
so we got 2 for orcs. We got 1 for going to the barrows first. We need to make a decision.
I'll deal with orcs.
That's 3 for orcs.
That's 3 for the orcs.
That's the majority.
All right. Well, if you insist.
I knew you were all right for a mud elf.
I would suggest you go and speak to that lady who's investigating the ruins, Derek. I know you've got a nose for tunnels, but she's been looking at this city for a lot longer than you have.
Yeah, we'll certainly have.
You've been here one night.
We'll certainly have a talk with her.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, in fact,
I look round for someone and ask where she is. Let's go and speak to her now. Is she over there having her breakfast?
Well, I was gonna say if you all start to head down into the ruins, she wasn't in camp, like she didn't eat with everyone else.
I will ask if anyone knows where she is in the camp.
Okay, well, if you ask if anyone knows where she is, you'll see that particular ranger kind of look up from whatever they're doing. Perhaps they're finishing their meal, or maybe they're cleaning their weapons. But they'll look up and kind of look over the city and say, "There." And you don't know why you didn't bother to look before, but you can see what has to be like a cook fire trail of smoke coming up from the ruins.
Oh, I start heading that way.
Wonderful eyesight, these Dunedain. I would have picked that up.
I probably could have.
Okay, come on, Derek. Let's go and talk to her.
Let's go speak to her.
So it is.
Yeah, we're coming.
Of course.
It is a sunny morning, so you are unlikely to encounter any orc.
Yeah.
In the ruins, in the open. Orcs are famously not too great in direct sunlight. So it takes you a while to get down there. And again, it is a ruin, so some of the roads are not quite as good as they used to be, the paths, but you are able, between the 5 of you, once having spotted the trail of smoke from the cook fire, to navigate your way to it, kind of down in...
Once I lead them down into a few dead ends, I kind of hand over the exploring to Derek, who knows a little bit more about this sort of
Okay.
thing.
Okay. So maybe if you were following Egil first, maybe a little bit longer, but after about an hour or so, you...
I'm looking at the players that way.
Right? You turn a corner around a bit of crumbled wall and fallen in roof, and you see a small figure sitting at a cook fire with a pack almost as large as the figure sitting on the ground next to it, open, several pots and pans, in addition to a couple of large tomes. Some of them appear to have been written by man, so they could be Numenorian in nature. And yeah, what looks to be like a small kind of exploratory camp, if you will. There's a desk that has a couple of tomes and a couple of artifacts sitting on top of it, in addition to what looks like a personal journal of some kind, inkwell, that kind of thing. The desk itself is set up kind of under an overhang, so there's no like tent or anything, but this individual has clearly been in this location at least for some time. And that reminds me, the one thing so I'll let you talk amongst yourselves for the moment while I
want to ask you a question about
the individual's picture in here.
About this small figure. Was this small, like shorter than a dwarf and like skinny, like a halfling, like a hobbit?
Have you seen a hobbit before?
Yes, in Bree.
Yeah, Bree.
Yeah,
we did see.
Yeah,
Bree.
That's true. Okay, that's fair. So yes, very much obviously a hobbit, and as you all kind of look on, this individual is also quite clearly a woman. Young, well, difficult to say with a hobbit, I suppose. They all tend to look young, even into aging years.
Yes, but she probably combs the hair on her feet, doesn't she?
I mean, her feet look like any other hobbit's feet that you've seen. You don't see any she doesn't have like little bows or anything in her feet. She looks quite rugged, actually. What you would normally think of in terms of a hobbit, I mean, most of the hobbits you've seen in Bree, or if you've traveled through Hobbiton, they tend to be portly.
Rotund.
Rotund, perhaps.
Well fed.
Well fed.
There you go.
She is lean.
Ooh.
Muscular, even.
Wow.
She looks like she could quite easily scamper around these ruins. She does have a short blade attached to her belt. Doesn't look like anything special from the hilt. Could be potentially a dagger that she's picked up somewhere. Her hair is pulled back in kind of a loose ponytail of sorts. Actually, let me finish getting the picture in here and I can show it to you. Yep, we want it there. We're going to choose a file, and we're going to choose... Just saved it. There it is. Nope, that's... Oh, okay. And... Yep. Entry... Yep, show, and we'll just make everybody in it. There you go.
Oh, she's cute.
She's about your height.
Excuse me.
Probably about 100 pounds lighter, too.
But it's probably about 200 pounds lighter.
You don't have a scruff
So-
of the head, too.
The average dwarf is still half a head taller than the average halfling. Like,
Yeah. I mean, the other question is
3
how
times
much of
wider.
that backpack is food?
She does say without turning around, "I'm afraid I don't have food enough for all of you."
oh, we've had
I
breakfast.
shall attempt to make a good impression on her with my courtesy, to introduce the group as we're not here to kind of steal her food. We are here to ask her wisdom and knowledge to help us to solve a problem.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and make a courtesy roll.
Why are you doing that? I'm checking out her desk and the artifact. I'm looking at it.
Fucking don't touch.
Ooh,
I'll
that's
do
a good
it.
roll.
That'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I mean, quite successfully, do you introduce everyone by name and title and whatnot?
Yes, and explain the reason we're here. We are seeking where the orcs may be coming from, and with her great knowledge of the ruins, she may be able to point us in the right direction.
She stands up from the squat that she was in quite easily and walks over to you and says, "Well met," and offers her hand.
Of course.
Big
And-
hand, little hand.
Yeah, we'll give it a
Shakes your hand.
handshake.
She says, "I'm Periwinkle Took, daughter of Adelgrim, sister of Paladin 2, recent husband to Eggleston Banks, you understand. Fair soul. Wonderful girl. Sister to Esmeralda. She married Sardok Brandybuck. Bit of a grump, if I'm honest. And my eldest sister, Zelda. She's a bit of a hopeless spinster. You can call me Perry or Wink. Some of the people up in the camp call me Wink. Also Perry. Nice to meet you."
Nice to meet you, Perry.
Yes, I introduce all the
Pleasure to
others.
meet you.
I give a brief explanation of how wonderful they are as heroes, Orc Slayer and Wolf Slayer and the esteemed tracker, great hunters, blah 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 blah. And we've heard there's problems with orcs infiltrating the city, and Derek believes there may well be a tunnel that they're coming through, and we are seeking the entrance so that we can drive them back and then, with his dwarven knowledge, possibly block it up. We shall see.
Oh,
But
yeah, there have been a few that have come in. I generally, and she pulls like something from like a rucksack, not her full pack, but kind of like a satchel that she has at her side. Kind of Indiana Jones like,
Yep.
really, if
Yep.
I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
And pulls out like a tube that has like a little hook on the bottom of it. She's like, "I got these from Gandalf. I'll aim kind of like where I see the orcs, and then I'll pull it, and there's like a flare, and it lets the Dunedain know where the orcs are, and they come down and clear them out."
Where did you
That's
say Mithrandir? Gandalf?
Gandalf, yeah,
whoa, yes,
he makes wonderful fireworks. I
Oh,
talked him into
yes.
making these for me.
He was of great help to the artisans of Dale in showing them how to create good fireworks for our celebrations.
Oh, you're over by that lonely mountain, eh?
Oh yes, of course.
Bilbo went there.
Oh yes. He was famous. He helped Bard to persuade Thorin Oakenshield to help at the Battle of Five Armies and all that.
Persuade? That's not how he tells it. He claims he just told everybody what to do. Very big on himself, Bilbo. He's a nice old man, though.
Well, he was. It was a terrible time for all of us, but he did his wonderful part, and Gandalf thought very highly of him. Or at least so my parents say. Anyway, have you noticed where these orcs might be coming from? Where did you note down where you saw them around the city?
Well, I mean, yeah, they've shown up in a couple of different spots, but where they're coming from exactly, I couldn't say. I spend most of my time rescuing what I can from the ruins.
Well, can you point us at a couple of the most recent spots? I mean, we have skilled trackers in our group. I mean, probably not up to the Dunedain. Well, we have a Dunedain in our group, so
right.
We may be able to track them back.
Yeah, I can show you the last few places that I saw them. And she inquires as to whether or not you have a map.
I pull out a map.
A map of
Numinas.
Numinas?
Well, no. This, I mean,
You have like a
no.
regional map. She says,
Yes.
"Oh, very well. 1 second." And she goes over to her desk and pulls out a sheet of paper from another kind of stack that she has there, opens up her own journal, and very quickly, in a matter of minutes, 15, 20 minutes or so, copy sketches out a map of the city for you and kind of indicates 3 different sites where the Dunedain recently had encountered the orcs. I suppose I could use the map that we have on screen and kind of map those out for you. Give me 1 second, and I will do that.
Yeah.
So,
While she's like drawing the map for us, I maybe ask her what brought you to Unluminous and why you're looking for ancient relics in these cities for the Dunedain. It's very rare to see a hobbit outside the Shire.
is it?
Well,
No, I guess I hadn't thought of
there's
that.
plenty of hobbits in Bree.
Well, outside Bree as well.
Well, those Bree hobbits, they're a bit weird, if I'm honest.
Well, I found them very sociable and.
They're sociable enough and like a good drink, but to live with men, so strange. The Hobbit, the Shire is just so comfortable.
Very
Not
strange.
so bad, Mistress Periwinkle.
Oh, please, just parry or wink. Periwinkle takes so long to say, don't you agree?
He endeavoured to be agreeable, Perry. But please, please continue with the map. I can see Derek starting to get restless over there.
I'm halfway to the first X already, mate.
No, he's sharpening his axe.
As soon as she draws that first X, I'm fucking off. No!
Ooh, you're going the wrong way. You gotta go right then left.
So
like, oh, okay.
she turns back to Orlan and says, well, to answer your question, which now has been a few comments on, so you get the sense that she'll just jump back and forth whenever she feels like it. I'm well, how would I say this? I guess well, where are you from, Master Elf?
I'm from Rivendell.
Oh, Rivendell. Then you would know exactly what I'm doing here. I'm what people would call a historian, sometimes even a I'm sure you've heard the term in Rivendell, an anthropologist. I study people and history. There's a society of us in the Shire. We're based out of Mickle Delving, called the Matham Society, and we study things like history and lineages and people. We have volumes on your own people in Rivendell from what little we've been able to discover, and peoples all over the northern area around the Shire. People like myself occasionally will leave the safety of the confines of the Shire to go out and try to find more and learn more and bring it back.
I see. I'm surprised. I'm always saw your hobbits very seclusive in your Shire. A bit afraid of the outdoors.
Oh, afraid's not the right term, Master Elf. Some of us prefer comfort. But in order to expand our knowledge and understanding of the histories of the peoples around us, some of us take it upon ourselves to go out. And if I'm honest, I'm from a family that's rather known for that kind of, well, what other hobbits would be referring to as adventurousness, as it were. Well, even old Bilbo has a little took in him.
Irithel mutters under his breath, I've heard of eccentricities, but it works.
Well, very interesting to hear this. Thank you for sharing, Perry. A little bit more about you hobbits from this meeting.
Derek, come back!
He's hopping.
We're going together!
Right, hurry up!
Well, aren't you going to thank Mistress Periwinkle for what she's done?
Of course. I walk back over because I was getting a bit antsy there. Perry, thank you so much.
You can get very, very eager.
I'm very eager to kill orcs.
If you like, I can show you the way.
Oh yeah.
That will help.
Yes.
Very kind of you.
Very well. Master Elf, I believe Sargon was your name?
Yes.
I haven't cataloged everything on that desk yet, so if you would please just leave it.
Yeah, he tilts and nods. He's like, "Oh, just curiosity."
Get that shit out of your pocket.
So since you look though, like everything on the desk, when I say artifacts, like potsherds, like bits of pot, bits of culinary tools, forks and knives, like the kinds of things like an anthropologist and an archaeologist would be interested, not like weapons or
And a hobbit.
anything like that.
Culinary tools.
Yeah. Well, you know, you never know when they might find some new culinary item that would be useful. So her encampment, I would say, was probably, when you found her, probably over here. Oh, hang on. Over here, if you can see my ping. Oh, that's a good ping.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, yeah, she's willing to lead you. Is there any particular order which you would like to go to the various sites?
Probably the most recent, I would have thought, Master Dunedain.
I mean,
because
What
easy to follow from there.
my logic would be I'd go to the closest
most
one.
recent.
Would be my logic.
Well, this one is the closest one, obviously, but this one is the most recent.
And the most recent's only a tiny little bit further away from the closest, so I'm happy to go to the most recent.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking at
That's
Perry and
awfully
ask
close to the top of the hill, too.
Perry, what's in the center of all these three locations here? On the map here, what's that area?
Oh, well, that area would be, would have been farms, orchards, and cultivated areas. There aren't a lot of buildings in those areas, and most of the buildings would have been the equivalent of what we in the Shire would call a woodshed or a tool shed, as it were.
Industry buildings.
All right, so no buildings with basements in that area, then. I'm just looking at the.
No, maybe a well or two.
A well.
You might have one or two with a basement if there's storerooms and warehouses, because warehouses will often have a basement to keep the stuff that needs to stay cool.
This is a thought of mine. After we check the first area, when I look at the three possible locations, I feel like maybe somewhere between them, in the center, where they're coming from, essentially scouting from that.
Oh, you're thinking like triangulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, triangulation. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
That's a big word for an elf.
Well, he is a high elf.
Right.
Indeed.
Well, that's why we're going for that for the most recent, because it's at the top of the hill.
Or
Not
closer
just
to the top,
all
yes.
worried.
Yeah. Well, it's more
Yeah.
suitable for a high elf, wouldn't it be?
Yeah. Okay, so
Sorry. Human joke there. Sorry.
no,
No disrespect intended.
No offense taken, Egil. Don't you worry.
So the first area, being the most recent, does still have signs of violence. Perry explains to you as you kind of move into the area that the Dunedain, of course, deal with any bodies of fallen orc, generally in the form of a bonfire or something like that, just to remove their taint and their stink from the world. But there are still, spatters of blood here and there. It's actually pretty easy to tell where a Dunedain got injured versus an orc because of the differences in the color. Orc ichor tends to be quite a bit darker, black, the black blood, as it were, compared to the nice red, healthy blood of the rest of the free peoples. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm wondering if I could use hunting to maybe kind of get an idea of, where the orcs came from and backtrack.
Okay.
Well, I'd be delighted to assist.
So you can, if Egil wants to assist you, Egil's going to have to spend a point of hope.
Egil will spend another point of hope.
And then, yeah, if you wanna make a hunting roll to do some tracking,
That is favored.
and you'll add a bonus die because Egil is supporting you.
There we go. And roll them. Ooh, that was close.
What's that?
Okay.
17. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Oh, very good.
So I mean, a success is good. You can, with a little bit of time, and while you're doing so, maybe you won't notice because you're focused on trying to find these tracks, but the rest of you would notice that Perry actually has a small notebook out and is watching Erithil very closely and writing things down. And yeah, after about, say, 20 minutes or so of taking the time to really separate, like, okay, an orc fell here. These were his steps as he tried to avoid a cut from a blade. And his steps lead in, and you're able to determine that their steps lead back down the hill, roughly in this direction.
Very good.
Towards the fields.
The theory seems most appropriate.
Does anybody go into those fields?
Well, occasionally when some of the Dunedain are down here, they'll go into the fields looking for any wild fruit or crops that they might recover. But they have begun to do quite a bit of their own gardening at the top near the encampment, as I'm sure you saw. So they're entering those fields less and less now.
Under. Oh.
Well, shall we follow those tracks then?
I think that would be a wise idea.
Yes, looks like your theory may be correct, Master Orlin.
Yes, it looks more possible for me in that area, from what I gathered from the map.
Well, if there is tunnel access there, might they have a sentry to keep an eye out for people approaching, do you think?
I don't think in broad daylight they would.
Yeah. And I know your people are full Dunedain is very watchful people, very aware of the surroundings. So I will even imagine during the night, the orcs will not even try to have a scout on near the entranceway.
They'd be seen.
So they
I'll keep my spear ready to kind of throw at any sentries to try and avoid them raising the alarm, in case we see them.
Sure. So the area is not small, if you're going to be going through it, and with just a success on your tracking roll, I'm not going to say that you track them to their location instantly. It is going to take some time. But probably getting on into the afternoon as you kind of move throughout these fields and kind of do a search pattern, you come upon a few storage sheds, or what's left of them. As Derek mentioned, some of them do have essentially what is a cool cellar beneath them, where some of the crops would have been placed and as a form of storage. These aren't, technology isn't quite so advanced in Middle Earth, so they're not silos, but they would have been the equivalent of like a gourd cellar and things like that to keep things somewhat fresher.
Cool and dry.
Cool, dark. Yeah, exactly. And you search some of those that you find, no indication of any tunnel in those. You find a couple of wells that are, to be quite honest, far too small for an orc to climb up out of.
Okay.
Perry, when you find one of the wells, enthusiastically is like, I can go down there if you would like me to.
Well, could we check the water and see if there's any contamination at all? Because if the
Yeah, you can do
orcs
that.
are coming through this area and they're down at about that sort of level, then you know how filthy they are. They might
Well,
be contaminating it.
I mean, they are filthy, but water is water. It's not like they
Yes,
give
I know.
off like poison. And the Mirror Nenuial is an inland lake, so it is freshwater. But yeah, you pull up some water, and I mean, it has the look of water from the lake, but I don't know that you would be able to tell if an orc has passed through it.
I don't think so
What
either.
I can say, yeah, what I can say is even at this elevation, it is quite deep. So the groundwater table, if it is groundwater, or perhaps connecting to the lake itself, several lengths of rope. The coil for this well is quite thick.
Right.
And so, yeah, you had to go down quite a bit to get some water, but you can get to the water there. After seeing you draw water, Periwinkle says, "I've changed my mind. I'm not going to climb down that well."
I think that's wise.
Probably wise, Mistress.
I don't think orcs would be coming up it anyway. I don't think we need to investigate the well.
Now,
Well,
Yeah.
sorry. go ahead.
sorry. If it's coming on towards evening, I will suggest that rather than go back to the encampment, we could camp out here and just listen to see whether we hear
I
it.
think we're in the late morning, early afternoon, just.
No, it's taken a long time.
Oh, it has. Okay.
Yeah. So it's
To camp here,
when
then?
I say it's coming on evening, it's probably 3 in the afternoon by the time, and you will find something. So I mean that's a good thought, Eggle, but I was just kind of narrating. Eventually, you do find hidden amongst some new growth and dense growth, what may have once been a well, but shows signs of having been intentionally widened and buttressed.
Yeah.
Derek would note very poorly, so it's got to be orc work.
It's definitely not dwarven anyway.
No, it's not dwarven.
Y'all do
But
better than that.
yeah, this if they're gonna come from anywhere in the region, it would be from here. And then once you discover this area, it does become apparent to Arathil quite quickly that yes, there are orc booted prints in some of the dirt. Again, this is in kind of just a tangle of new growth. So it has quite a bit of cover.
I think an investigation.
Any sign of their four-legged friends, Arathil?
That is a fair question. Unfortunately, with his earlier hunting check, I'm not going to give you that.
But would the opening be big enough for them?
Big enough for them? I mean, potentially. But if you
also,
look down in the opening...
Is it a vertical well with
It
a
is
ladder?
vertical.
Yes.
It is vertical.
Wargs would have a hard time with that.
Yeah, wargs gonna.
Wargs would have a difficult time. You think?
Is there any sort of arrangement on top for lifting something up, a windlass or that's been?
Oh, like a windlass or a pulley? No, there's not.
Good. So.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the remains of like a frame of what once was. You imagine like the well functionality. But it's not connected anymore. The rope's not going down. There's no bucket. It's just kind of listing to the side, so it doesn't look like it's used for anything. And the rope is quite rotten.
Yeah, so it used to be the pulley system at one time.
Yeah.
Is there a ladder or anything?
Not so much a ladder as there are wood and metal rungs
banged into the wall.
haphazardly pounded in. Yeah.
You've got your footholds. Yeah. Aye, so wargs don't come up that. A warg could be trained to climb a ladder, but not those.
Really?
Oh
Orcs
yeah,
can be trained. Good lord, have you seen that?
I've not seen it, but Oliver used to have a dog that could climb ladders. Dogs can be trained to climb a ladder.
Oh boy. And wargs are smarter.
And wargs are smarter than dogs.
They are
right?
smarter. Yeah.
Indeed.
No, I believe Master Dwarf. An investigation in order.
Is there a rope
So we need.
that's laying down there?
No, it's not a
look
rope.
around. Is there anything we can use to make torches, or are we deemed to?
Oh
have
yeah, there's plenty around you can make torches with.
Don't we have torches?
And also, it can be, well, again, in the One Ring, it's expected that you all, unless there's some reason for privation,
Then
it's
we-
expected
then
that
we
you
have
all tend to have
food,
general
water.
equipment like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
either you have torches or there is enough stuff around you to very easily and quickly make some torches. Not something we really worry about. The only thing I worry about there is somebody has to carry a torch. You can't just like slap a
Well,
torch onto your shoulder.
I'm quite happy to carry a torch.
Yeah.
Nobody has dark vision in this game, right? There's no dark vision.
No, sir. Nope. Somebody's got to carry a torch.
Not the demi-humans, anyway. None of us.
No.
Orcs and goblins,
Orcs,
maybe.
on the
We
other
don't know
hand,
about that. Yeah, they
maybe.
maybe do.
Now, some
don't
of you
know.
are capable. Some of you are capable of magic that might create light.
Yeah.
If they choose to use those abilities, but
Yeah.
that can get you noticed.
Right?
Well, I shall light a torch and actually, would it be
So-
a torch or a lantern?
I'd be fine with you saying that you have a lantern.
I've got
You're
a
from
lantern
Dale.
that I can.
Dwarves
I
are
can
known
hang it
for
on my
making
belt
lanterns.
as I'm climbing down.
It's a common
Yes.
item.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a common
Yeah.
item. It's not an expensive item or
Okay.
anything, so...
Yeah.
If Derek wants to go first, I will climb down after him, so that I'm giving him some light for climbing down.
Well, before you all head in, I will say that Periwinkle kind of looks over the edge and says, "Well, gentlemen, I believe this is a good time for me to leave you."
Thank you very much indeed for your help, Miss.
Thank you for your
Mistress.
guidance.
Sorry, Perry. Sorry, I'm terribly
Yeah.
sorry.
Thank you very much, Perry. We really appreciate your help.
Thank you.
I will head up the hill and let the encampment know that this is here,
Thank
but
you.
that you
very
are
much.
handling things.
Thank you.
That comforts me. Thank you, Perry.
Of course. And I will stay up there until morning.
Very wise.
That may well be wise.
Good plan. Good plan.
Actually, before she heads off, she starts walking away, and then she turns back, and she goes up to Eggle and says, "If you need it, here." And she hands you one of her little tubes that has like the ring in the bottom, and she shows you that you just hold it up, pull the bottom ring.
And the flare goes up.
Basically a catapult, isn't it?
Oh, we see the flare in this.
No,
universe.
no.
No, it's like a
a
Roman
flare.
candle. It's a flare.
Yeah.
Ah, oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Aye, but she's pulling it back on an elastic thing and then that's pinging it out, isn't it?
No,
No, you just pull it
It's a
and it
ring
makes
pull.
whatever happens
Ah,
inside
right.
happen.
So you pull it and then
And
a
it
firework
guides
pops it off. Right, aye.
Mhm.
Right, aye. So like a gun.
Okay.
I thank her for profusely, and I make sure I store it well away from the lantern.
Good plan.
Monster.
She nods sagely when you do that. Actually,
Pointed away from people.
We are used to fireworks in Dale.
she says, "And don't worry about the expense. I'm quite well off. I can buy more from Gandalf the next time I see him."
Good for you.
I best catch up with Derek. He's getting a bit impatient. Thank you very
Oh,
much for your
yes.
help, Perry.
Derek at this point.
Be careful, all of you. Good journey, and have fun. And then
Der-
she turns and
Derek's going to pull out of his pack a spare shirt or undershirt and wrap it round his hands.
Okay.
Doesn't have to
Or
touch
just like
over
some
on-
cloth,
I'm just going to
just
wrap...
to have better grip on the rungs.
No, so I don't burn my hands when I slide down the rope.
There's no rope. It's rungs.
Oh, it's rungs, so it is shit, yeah.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
no way to go down it fast. Shit.
Nope.
I
Not
thought you
fast,
were
no.
doing.
You can go down fast.
Doing
It's a
it so
sudden
that you
stop at
wouldn't-
the end of it to get you.
Yeah, that's true.
I was thinking there was a rope. I was just going to wrap up my hands in cloth so that I don't burn them.
Slide,
Go,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, the well rope is in rather bad shape.
So
Derek,
I'll just have to
uh,
climb.
I'm afraid so.
Now, it is getting on in the afternoon, so like I said, as you go down not terribly far, you are effectively plunged into darkness, barring,
It
of
doesn't matter
course,
whether it's
Egil's
morning
lantern.
or afternoon or evening. It's going to be dark
It's
down.
going to be dark, aye.
Well, I mean, if the sun were directly overhead, you might have a good amount of light, but yeah, no, it gets cut off fairly quickly.
Yeah, that's
Right, you
not
get
going to
15
help
minutes
the
at
pub.
noon. That'll be it.
Right. The air cools as you descend, and you can definitely smell. I mean, what you would smell at like a natural lake, right? It's not brine, it's not salt water because it's fresh water, but there is a smell.
Like algae.
Yeah.
Smells like a fish
you know,
tank.
I would say probably out of everyone, I would say that Eric definitely gets a tang of orc.
Start chewing on my
let's
own beer
go
just to get that taste out of my mouth.
Why do I not have that one available anymore? That's dumb. What is it?
Would you mind marking on the map of Illuminous
Oh,
where
yeah, where we found this
tunnel
well.
is?
Sure, I can do that.
If you would be so kind.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Points of interest. It may only be a point of interest for a short period of time once Derek gets to work on it. But,
That's the plan. Ooh.
So,
I've seen this one.
as you descend into the dark, this is just the descending into the dark background.
Yes, I love it.
Obviously, yeah.
Because it's Moria, isn't it?
Um,
That image.
I mean, I don't know that that's specifically from Moria. It might be from the Moria book, actually, now that I think about it. But obviously, as you descend into this is much more natural. The rungs have been planted here by someone. They are obviously a recent addition. And as you are climbing down,
I'm expecting
Derek.
Derek to spot ones which look a little bit wobbly and kind of.
well, yeah, I was
going
going
to
to say, with Derek going first, is probably smart because he will note
I'm
as
probably
he
the heaviest.
travels that some of them are not quite as good as some of the others.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you give it a bang with your gauntleted fist to get it in there tighter, or
Kick it with my foot.
kick it with your foot, or maybe you call up and say, hey, watch out for this one, right? But you are all able to descend.
I probably weigh twice as much as anyone else with my armor on,
Oh gosh.
Oh, absolutely.
and the
Yeah.
rest, probably.
I mean, let's be honest. Without your armor on, you probably weigh twice as much as the elves.
It's probably 3 times as much with the armor, isn't it?
right?
Yeah.
Well, if those spikes survive Derek hanging off them, then they'll be perfectly safe for the rest of us.
Well, Derek,
Right.
That's why he's
as,
on
as
fire.
well as all this metal armor, I've also got big 9 centimeter big balls of titanium as well, so they weigh quite a lot.
Okay. I'll have to remember that. Do you rip those off and use them as bolus, or are they just always dangling there?
Just always there, just dangling.
Yeah, I got
Making a nice
Uh,
clinking noise to intimidate my enemies when I run.
Right.
He shoots lightning out of his ass.
Okay.
I
What
think
I
I've seen
do
that.
want from everyone is I do want an athletics test, individual from everyone.
Okie dokie. Is this for climbing
These are
down?
not. These are not well made and they're not well placed. It's not going to be the end of the world if you fail, but...
So I'm sorry, is there a problem?
I thought about spending hope there as well.
Ooh, Derek fails.
Yeah, I had thought about spending hope and wishing I did now.
Marathel fails.
I'm gonna spend I'm gonna use my.
Don't. Oh, you're gonna use your special thing.
Yeah, I'm using my special thing.
You know that costs hope, right?
Yeah.
Does it not?
Yeah,
Oh no, you're in the dark. You just get favor, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it works?
Let me double check in the rule book.
When you're in a forest or at night, you can spend 1 point of hope to achieve a magical success. Okay, you can do that if you like.
Yeah. So he says like, "Ah!" He's like, I think I need a little help.
No. Move
So
your foot to the left. I call up.
I still want you to roll, but again, when you go to roll, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to select hope point bonus die, and then you're going to click on magical success to the right of that as well, and then you're going to make your roll.
Roll.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I did good.
Ordinary success. So you're busy telling everybody else how to climb down.
Extraordinary magical success. So, how does the subtle magic of Middle-earth affect your descent?
Before, as he's kind of crawling through, he sees like the little probably because we're in an area that has trees and growth and stuff. So he's kind of touching with some of it, and he's kind of his eyes kind of close, and you see like a little soft glow, like twinkle light, coming from his hands, and as he touches some of the branches, and it seems like they kind of grow out and give him a better hook as he's climbing down. So
I like it.
Didn't you use a tree before? You used a tree branch to pull that thing out of the thing, didn't you? Yeah. I like that. That's cool. That's very cool.
Okay, so... Yep. All right.
Everybody goes down. He goes last, and he's just hearing all the screaming. I'm like,
well, I'm just wondering if all of you are going to get any notification when this happens. Let's see.
Oh, I heard that.
Did you hear something?
Yep. Hang on. I'm gonna turn sound effects up and then get you to. Is it environment? Is it? For sound effects?
Derek, did you eat anything before we came down?
To, honestly.
You wanna hit it again?
Well, if I hit it again, it's gonna add more.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll hit it again.
Get out of my head, Dark Lord. Get out of my head, please. Get out of my head. Please.
Now I gotta fix it.
What did it say?
So, I believe it's supposed to be saying, "I see you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Oh. And
So anytime you use magic, the eye awareness goes up.
Oh.
Anytime you roll an eye on a non-combat check, the eye awareness level goes up. And once your eye awareness level hits a certain point, you can be hunted by a servant of the enemy because you've drawn too much attention to yourselves.
I mean, we kind of fought one of them anyway. So.
Well, I mean, that will save us the trouble of going looking for him, won't it?
Well,
look on it as a good thing.
And that is why you are now having to deal with this eye awareness, because you have done something, i.e. defeating Garaf,
that got
to draw the attention of the enemy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially given that Garaf was able to escape and tell on you, essentially.
Yeah, if Garaf had died, it might have taken a bit longer for that to trigger, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yes, but that would have meant having to do 2 wounds in the same round to stop Garaf.
No, just 2 total.
No, 2 wounds in the same round because she ran after the first wound.
Correct. Oh yeah, you would have had to have dealt another wound to her in that same round
before
to
her
take
turn.
down. Yeah, absolutely.
Aye.
Before her turn, yeah.
I'll finish her next time. She's not getting away from me twice.
Well, if you can do 2 wounds to her in the same round, Derek, then that might work. But you will need help if otherwise.
What is this round that you
All
speak
right.
of?
So with the failures, I am going to say that each of you who failed, I'm going to leverage the fatigue system. You each gain a point of fatigue as you try to climb down this very poorly constructed addition to Into the Darkness. So just add a point of fatigue to yourself. Obviously, Orlan and Sargon, or not Orlan, sorry, Egil and Sargon do not have to do that because they succeeded.
Where is fatigue? I can't find it.
I just have to
He's on
dodge
the
all
load,
this stuff that's
check
knocked,
load.
knocked
By
down
load.
Yeah,
to
lower
above.
right-hand corner, load. Under
Load.
resources, you've got endurance, load.
Resources. Yep, there it is. Hang on. I'm probably looking right at it and just being stupid. So resources, I've got endurance, load, hope, and shadow.
So fatigue is just like it's connected to resources. It's kind of underneath it to the right. There's a little diamond connected to the to load. You see load, right?
Nope. I've got resources and then
Underneath
combat
your rewards.
proficiencies.
Yes,
Right. And under
you've got
resources, you have
endurance
endurance,
and
load, hope,
Yep.
and shadow, right?
Yep.
Yep.
You can't minimize that
You see
tab,
load?
so I don't.
And then under that, I've got combat proficiencies.
No, but you're
above
looking at
combat
resources.
proficiencies,
Yep.
You've got rest and health, correct?
Yes, I've got. Yeah.
Yeah. And above rest and health, you've got endurance,
You have
load,
load.
hope,
Oh,
and
it's
shadow.
on. It's load.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, I'm so stupid.
yeah,
Sorry.
it's well fatigued.
Aye. It's.
You're fine.
Oh my days. Aye. So
You
you
got
add
it.
one to that and it
All
makes
right.
load up. Fucking hell.
I'm
Yep.
sorry, let me hold this lantern up a little bit closer, Derek.
I was nearly sweating
Oh,
there. I was nearly sweating, Brian. Like that time we were playing Fallout and I couldn't get the dice to work.
Right. I was too. Like, is half of your character sheet gone? All right, so
No, I'm just dumb.
you finally managed to get to the bottom. Well, ish, right? At a certain point, because this was part of a well, at a certain point, you basically come through a hole in the ceiling. And thankfully, you're able to see, because of Egil's lantern, Derek, there is a very shoddy-looking wooden and metal construction platform that has been built up to where the hole in the ceiling is. For you, you're like hanging on to the last rung, and your little feet are just kind of just shy of that platform. You're probably not kicking them like a child, but you have to let go and drop onto the platform.
Don't tell the elves.
But thankfully, it does hold, because this platform is built to hold like orcs in armor, you would assume.
No, they are.
Uh,
a fully armored orc is a bit closer to me in weight, isn't it?
Yeah, right. So you're able to then, the platform itself then has a ladder that goes down to another platform and so forth. It's kind of a rickety kind of
Orc construction,
scaffold
yeah.
kind of construction.
It's gonna be shit.
But it holds as you climb your way down. You're in a very large cavern, what would be the essentially like kind of a sea cave. And you do
Okay.
see in Egil's lantern light a reflection of water down at the bottom, kind of, in the direction of where the lake kind of would be. So this appears to be like an underground aquifer that is connected in some way to the lake. You may be at the bottom of what is essentially the mount that the encampment is on. You may even be a bit lower because of the way water tables and differences. You know, it's not always perfect, right? You might even be a bit below
sea level
where Lake Nenuel is, but because of the way everything comes together, it's not totally flooded.
Yep.
I'm not a geologist, but I know that can happen.
Yeah.
So
It happens in Michigan.
Derek knows exactly how deep you are because he's a dwarf, but you're probably at or below the level of the lake.
He can smell how.
But no signs of orcs.
no signs of orcs at all.
Well, I mean, other than the construction
And the smell
and the smell.
and footprints.
Well,
we'll have to wait for Arathil to come down to check for that.
yeah, assuming you all get to the bottom, nobody's stopping or saying let's go back up, right? Everybody is descending.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm kind of getting there last. I'm like, hey, everybody okay? Kind of hanging off the side.
No, you're just floating down.
That's what I was thinking. You just look like you're floating down. You're like,
The vines are just passing him down.
I was like, I would say that some of the vines will help us up coming up probably because of how well good.
But yeah, so you get to the bottom, and again, this is a cavern, so you're talking about bare stone. Tracking footprints is going to be difficult.
Right.
But one direction clearly is kind of where the lake is. You doubt that they're swimming into like an underground flooded tunnel. So it's probably back the other way.
Yeah.
Given
these are orcs and they're kind of messy, possibly there's a few discarded food wrappers and things and such like, orc equivalent. We'll just have a look around.
Sure. It doesn't take you very long, though, to be honest, to find that there is like the cavern does eventually kind of ease off into what is essentially, narrow down into what is essentially a tunnel. You don't see any other tunnels. This tunnel does look mined.
Okay.
Recently
mined,
or
like mined 1,000 years ago when the Numerians were here, or whatever they're called.
I mean, it's about as recent as the scaffolding and the rungs construction.
So it's not the people that lived here before; it's the orcs.
Oh no. Yeah.
Can I?
So it may actually go to other places as well.
Being a dwarf, I can easily tell the difference between an orc's mining and a dwarf mining. Just looking at the mining, I can easily tell that.
I wouldn't say easily. I would say you could easily identify dwarven work. Everybody else's work looks kind of
that it's not dwarven,
shitty compared to It's not dwarven work, but you could guess that this is
any sign of what metal was being mined here.
Oh, mined as in just dug out a tunnel.
Oh, right, but they weren't actually digging out some metal.
You don't see any indication of actual mining.
There's no veins or anything.
In fact, as you're going along, if you enter, assuming you enter the tunnel.
Yep.
Okay. So as you all head into the tunnel and as you're going along, Derek, you do notice in a couple of spots, like, oh, that looks like the tip of a coal vein.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that looks like that might be a little bit of iron there. That could go back. Like, there's no indication that they're doing any mining at all.
I was wondering with the water and bare stone tends to really project sound. You might not be able to, find footprints, but he might be able to hear more, tracking prey that way.
Well, there should also be signs of how they got rid of the stone. Is the kind of drag marks from the skid marks from them hauling them on a travois or something? Because if they've cut this out, the stone must have gone somewhere back out the way we're going.
Yeah, there might be a few marks here and there of like some kind of sled that they were loading stone into and then pulling it out as they were digging this tunnel. Because it does definitely look like the tunnel was dug into the cavern, not out of, right?
Right. Yeah,
so
well, Derek probably has a pretty good idea of how much work would have been involved with this, and this does not look like a small endeavor.
No, I mean, with the size of the tunnel, because the tunnel is probably only about as wide as the two elves standing shoulder to shoulder, right?
Okay.
It's barely tall enough for Erithil. Thankfully, Erithil isn't having to stoop at all, and it's not rounded as well as, say, elven work or even Manish work would be. It just, if you were looking at the tunnel from the entrance or the exit, as it were, it looks like a gash. Like it is very rough.
Okay.
Like
Just hewn out
almost
of the rock.
triangular. Yeah.
The bare minimum they needed to get through.
Correct. Yeah. You might even run into here and there like a lone, like timber, like bare timber, like just a tree cut down,
Propping up a loose bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Well, either they used goblins or really strong orcs to cut this out, because you probably couldn't get more than one or two at the face, eh, Derek?
And they were probably working at it for a long time.
Yeah.
I would say Derek would definitely be able to tell that nobody on the surface would have been able to hear this mining. The well was deep enough that
You would hear this.
even if the well were a normal sized well at that point, you would have to be at the well to hear the mining happening as they breached into the chamber itself. But before it even breached in the chamber, you wouldn't have heard anything.
Right.
Because it's very deep.
Can Derek tell which direction this is heading? I mean, is it a reasonably straight line?
Like if we're going north, south, east, or west, do I have that kind of underground direction sense, like a dwarf does in D&D?
A bit.
D&D, anyway.
So you're heading mostly northeast.
Northeast.
Towards the barrows.
Yeah,
Towards Mount Garm.
towards the barrows.
Isn't the barrows northwest though?
Northeast.
No, northeast.
No, they're northeast.
Oh, okay.
They're on the other side of the river to the northeast.
Erithil is taking Mount Garm.
Never eat sumo wrestlers.
Mount
And-
Graham
and-
is also
and-
to the northeast. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And is the tunnel going up or down?
So currently the tunnel is descending
Okay.
So possibly going under the river.
Oh,
under the river, possibly under the
Possibly,
barrows.
yep.
I'm just looking at Derek and I say, Master Dwarf, are these scaffoldings safe, or do we need to worry about a cave-in?
Are they safe, Brian?
Everything you've seen so far looks safe enough. In fact, you're not even certain if you wanted to bust out one of those timbers that it would cause a collapse.
I'm not going to try it.
You would need more dwarves with you to intentionally cause a collapse in here.
So I'll tell him that it's not going to last 1,000 years, but it's not going to fall on our heads today.
Very good. I was just worried about that.
No, I
If
think
we're gonna fight in here.
Yeah.
it's not going to fall on our heads today. No, absolutely not.
Well, looking at the effort they've put into digging this, Derek, they must have been working on this for a long time.
Or with great numbers. Saying that,
couldn't
only one or two of them
Yeah,
are
with
digging
the-
at the
with
same
the
time.
size of
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've obviously doing it for a purpose. So are they looking for something in Illuminus? Are they sending the orcs through to look for something, and it's just when
Possibly.
they're spotted that they're caught? Because
Possibly.
if there's just
Now-
one or two going through, if
I
it
do
was
want to
being
ask
done
you at this
for
point,
an
are
invasion-
you all just having normal conversations as you're walking?
No, I'm trying to be
No.
very quiet.
We will talk
Speak.
quietly. We're not whispering
Okay.
because whispers carry a long way.
Yeah.
I got my bow ready, so I got it knocked.
What are
Because
you-
I will say that after a time, say about an hour, heading roughly northeast, sorry. After about an hour of heading downward, the tunnel starts to widen. And you notice as it widens that there are signs of recent work.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in one section, there are a couple of pickaxes laying on the ground. And the indication of like a sledge, possibly like a cart that's on wooden rails of some kind, being pulled out with any stone. There's definitely a clearer sign of that now. You also notice, without having to make any rolls, that the ceiling is damp and
Under the
dripping.
lake.
We're under the lake.
Yeah, they're digging under the lake.
Or we're under the river.
Or under the river.
Yeah.
You would assume with the direction you've been heading, you're probably under the river at this point.
Ooh.
So the impression, therefore, is they've dug the original tunnel and they sent a few scouts out, but they're widening it to send either
A force.
larger force or a force of larger creatures.
From my
Yeah.
standpoint,
We've
I
seen
agree.
a troll. Do you
Yeah.
think a troll could go down this
Absolutely
passageway?
not. Not the one
You're
we've just been
fairly
through.
certain. Not the one you've just been through. At this point, it might be getting wide enough for a troll, but you're also fairly certain at this point that the scaffolding isn't going to hold a troll.
Right.
To get a troll up out, and a troll would not fit through
The well.
even the widened well.
Hmm.
So unless they're planning on a different way of ascending, you're not assuming a troll at this point.
Yeah,
I think Erithel is more worried. That latest place where they came out was a lot closer to Gilran's camp than the other
that's
two.
where they were encountered.
Right.
And
So-
chances,
And that's what I mean. They're
Scouts
moving
out.
closer to the camp, but that's where they're intending to dig, and they're scouting the area to see if anybody would notice. And then they dig that much closer, and sooner or later they're going to come up right underneath them.
Well, they're digging to that cavern, but they're now widening out the tunnel to that cavern. So rather than sending things through single file, they can send
They
them
want to
through
send an
a
army
move
through.
an army.
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What if they also try to be more cunning?
Anyway,
Was it-
what else do we see? I mean, if they're digging this, are they on their tea break?
Well, you do know at this point that it's getting close to sunset.
So they'll be starting the work soon because they're nocturnal.
Yeah.
Right, their deal will just be
No.
starting soon.
Outside, they're nocturnal.
Aye.
Underground.
Aye, but this,
But they
we
also
still
tend to
we still have-
generally work.
we still
in a
have this-
nocturnal sense.
we still have the same 24 hours in a day, whether you're above ground or
Yeah,
underground. You're
they
going to
do
be
have
used to
sleep.
You're going to be used to sleeping at a certain time. You're going to do it underground or
Yeah.
overground. You're nocturnal wherever you are.
Circadian rhythm.
Yeah, you're still nocturnal when you go underground.
Although I have to admit, with
So-
the tea break thing, I was picturing an orc
With a cup of
pinky
tea with a
extended.
pig out.
Small teacup.
He's back on the menu.
I don't think
boys.
orcs would call it tea break. I think orcs would be like the Australians and call it smoko.
So, is there anywhere where we could set up an ambush, Derek? Because
Possibly.
they should be turning up.
I mean, right now you're just in an open tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to keep continuing on?
I say we should push on. Yes.
I think so. Cautiously.
Okay. So, as you head forward, not making you make exploratory rolls because there's only one tunnel here, but eventually you reach a point where there is essentially a cross tunnel. Have you started to become intentionally stealthy? Does anybody want to make any sneaking
definitely
checks,
Gareth would be.
or
I think we're going to be a bit slower and a bit more. I can't really be that sneaky in this fucking tin can armor, like, but
you can try?
I can slow down. Do you want us to roll sneak or stealth, whatever it is?
I would, yeah. I'd like everyone to make a stealth check for me.
I've got nothing in
Okay.
stealth. Tell you what I'm gonna do. Oh, no. I think I'm gonna.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow,
Look at
that's an auto
Orlon.
success.
Nice.
I'm gonna spend a whole point.
I was thinking about spending a whole point as well, eh? But it's no. There's no point if somebody fails. If one person fails, there's no point.
Oh,
Oh,
Two
there's
automatic
another thing.
successes.
Okay,
Look at that.
Oh,
You failed. Okay, I'm not gonna spend hope then.
that's a ranger fail.
There's a clatter as my spear butt bangs on the wall, and
Yeah, the elves go sneaky. I'm like, that's like.
Yeah, we are like gracefully sneaky, stealthy, no sound from us.
Yeah.
I will now
Until you fart,
also
because
I will let all of you.
elves are hairless from
will
the
let-
eyebrows down, and it's the hairs on your bumhole that make you do silent farts. Elves can't
Muffle.
fart. Elves can't fart silently. That's canon.
They whistle.
Okay.
Brian's like, I didn't need to know that.
The more you know.
So
Unless you-
let's
that's
get an
dwarven
awareness.
folklore, is it?
Yeah, right. Let's get an awareness test from everyone.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
I'm good at that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't involve fighting, I'm not very good at it. Oh god. I rolled the baddie.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh jeez, I got.
Oh, you got one as well? Oh, shit. Oh, no. What's it got? It's a Sauron rune, isn't it, that one?
Good
Yeah.
lord. I've rolled just one above minimum on my awareness. I could have rolled a 2,
Three,
but I
wow.
rolled a 3.
Sorry, because me and Arathil have rolled fucking the Saurons.
So Sargon
boy.
rolled an eye. And Derek rolled an eye. Wow, they are stacking up today.
Oh. Oh.
And I fucking hear you.
Okay.
Do it again.
Well, they don't need to hunt us. They know precisely where we are
Yeah,
now.
he sees us. And I smell you.
Well, glad I have
This
my
is
bow.
great.
Glad I have my bow ready. I'm like, hello.
I mean, you guys are gonna make me check. Like, when does this actually happen? Soon. I think you've still got a little bit. All right. So, the only person who succeeded is Orlon, right, on the awareness
Yeah.
test.
Aye.
It's gonna be enough. If nobody had noticed it, then I would have made it significantly worse for you.
What are your
But
elven eyes here?
Orlon, as you guys get to that kind of opening where you're essentially at like a cross intersection, right? The tunnel continues ahead of you, but there are two sides, not exactly like even with each other, but there are two branches to either side, or
Okay.
one branch on either side. And you hear, is there a team ahead of us? Y'all hear that? I don't know why they said y'all, but they did.
Was that in the? Was that in a human language?
It would have been in Westron, yeah.
Yeah, I hear this.
Orcs don't always speak the black speech. Most of the time, they just speak Westron.
Oh yeah, orcs do speak the human language, don't they?
Yeah.
So I look at the others and I
Meat's back on
Say-
the menu, boys.
say, hide.
What's in the
Whispering, hide.
There's nowhere to hide.
There's no
Well, is this a cross passage?
Yeah.
It is a cross passage.
And which direction did the noise come from?
I'm gonna ask
Up
Erlon.
ahead.
You know what? Orlon got a great success, so I will say that Orlon can tell that the voices come from directly ahead of you.
So in that
Orlon-
case, we go into one of the side passages.
Is that an elven
Yeah.
word? Hide.
Because it's
Never
a cross
heard it
passage,
before.
isn't it?
Must be an elven word. I don't know it.
Pick a side. Right or left?
Well, I'm following the Orlon, who knows what he's doing.
Rule of right.
Oliver always leans to the left.
Yes, but what does Derek do?
Does he follow the master elf?
If Derek thinks Derek didn't hear anything. I will follow the
Yep.
elf. I will follow the elf.
Yep.
Okay. So if you
That's
head down the
really
right-hand
helpful.
passage, very quickly you come into a bit of a larger. It opens up quite a bit
Well, hang
into
on a
what
second.
seems.
Hang on,
Yeah,
hang
go
on,
ahead.
hang on. Were we heading down there or just stepping in there out of the way, ready to ambush
I don't
them
know.
as they came up?
Yeah, that's what I figured.
know.
I figured we were
Grasping.
just. I figured we were just ducking behind the wall to wait for them to go past so we can hit them in the back.
Yep.
Okay, well, there's no ducking behind a wall. Like, it's an open cross passage. There's no cover.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
so-
I
But we can,
I
like-
can put my cloak over the
it-
lantern, so we're not
You
showing
can,
the
yeah.
light.
And we can put it back.
You
They're
can.
coming up with a light.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Roughly, you don't have to give me precise measurements, but roughly how far into the right-hand passage are you going to go?
Only a
By
few,
what,
a
10
few
feet?
paces.
Yeah,
Derek's
A
charge
few paces, far enough to where you think if you cover the lantern, they just
Yep.
won't see you in the dark
Right.
of the side passage.
Yeah.
Far
Okay.
enough that I can get a run up.
When you
Good
say
at short
feet,
distance,
So-
long range, not good.
Just so we can all picture it in our minds, the cross passages and the main passage are now roughly 4 people wide, right?
Whoa.
Hmm.
They're not small, but they're not in a massive open space. There's also no cover, bare stone, mined walls, not even really much in the way of like nooks and crannies you can hide in. As you step down the side passage and cover the lantern with your cloak, or you probably have a dwarven main lantern. We can just say that you can shutter
Switch it off.
right?
Shutter it.
Dwarves are
Yeah.
not switch it off, but like shutter it,
Mhm.
where you might still use your cloak in front of it a little bit so that you have a little bit of the light, but you can shutter it to where it's very difficult to see.
Yeah.
And ahead of you, you can now see light, weak light, from some torches, because orcs don't see in the dark either. They also need light.
Oh, they
just
don't? Okay.
Don't like sunlight.
Mhm.
And so you see 2 orcs, one with a torch, one's carrying a pickaxe. Then you see 2 more orcs. And 2 more.
Is this coming
Oh boy.
up the passage that we heard?
How many total?
They're coming. So think of the main passage, right?
Yeah.
That heads to the big cavern you came into. They are coming up that passageway, heading towards the cavern,
Okay.
assumingly to continue widening it.
Right.
Right.
There are a total of 6 so far.
So
Well, it depends
now
depends whether Derek's patience lasts that long.
The
now
more,
we'll
the
say
more
they're
the
up
mer-
to 8.
The more the merrier, mate. The more the merrier. I've got patience for this. Like,
Now after the 5th pair, so now 10 crosses ahead of you.
Oh.
You can feel the ground rumbling a bit as a troll comes into view,
Uh-oh.
pulling a large sled with a bucket,
Mm.
a large bucket on it.
Arathil is going to wrap Aranar in his cloak. It's a troll bane.
it glows.
You could sheath it.
Yeah, he's basically in the sheath
Yeah.
and he just kind of feels that rumbles like, oh no.
He sticks it out a little bit and it's like, yep, it's glowing.
Well, I mean, we haven't really discussed that. Does it glow? Does it vibrate? Does it?
We did say last time that it.
Oh, did we say it glows?
Like
Okay.
Sting.
Okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, it definitely would glow as the troll crosses the passage in front of you. Obviously, Estelle is probably glowing. If Estelle is
Yeah.
Orcbane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it will glow if it's orcs nearby. Yes.
I was
And
waiting
Orc
for everybody
doesn't
to
glow.
charge
Damn
the
it.
troll while it's still encumbered by that sled.
That's the plan. That is the plan. I'm going to get in behind it. I'm going to chop it right down the back of the head.
are
I
you
kinda
sure?
wish-
Because you
I'm-
can hear more coming.
More trolls.
No, more
More
orcs.
orcs.
Mm-hmm.
So we're already at 10 orcs and a troll.
It's just
Yeah. I
No,
go
but
slowly backwards
we
towards the
know
darkness.
we know they're down there, so we need to probably see if we can find like where they're coming from, maybe.
No. 'Cause
And
right now, it's a
I
fight we
mean,
can't win.
like, I know that it's not sensible to go and fight all these. Derek doesn't. Derek's going to want to. You're going to have to hold Derek
No,
back.
Derek doesn't have a death wish. Derek is a hero. Derek knows his limits.
Is there that many
As-
coming?
He's going to hate it, but he knows them.
As another pair of orcs cross, and then another pair,
Oh boy.
and then another pair. All told, there are 20 orcs and a troll before people stop coming down the passage. Now,
So we,
I'm not going to tell you that the 5 of you can't defeat that many enemies. It's possible.
Don't tell me that.
Unlikely, but
Don't tell me it's.
possible.
If you tell me it's possible, I'm going to fucking try it.
Right?
no. I look at him.
Don't
and I'm
tell me
looking
it's
at,
possible.
Airthel. It's like, hey, rein in the little one.
You know it would be very difficult.
But we're heroes.
But they've passed you now.
Mhm.
They have a ways ahead to go to reach the area where it looks like they were last doing work. And by the size of the bucket, it's going to be some time before that bucket is full.
So we've got
Yeah.
time to get in behind them now and we'll see where they
Either way.
came from.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So I whispered to everyone, let's go now while they are
Yeah.
going down the main hall.
Well,
Hallway, quick.
Is it worth checking what's down this passage? Because this is also recently dug, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why would they have built this passage? There must be a reason.
Storage.
Is it another exit?
Which direction does this go?
But is this cross passage? It could be natural. This cross passage.
No.
No,
it's
the cross
recently dug.
passages are dug.
Right. Okay.
I
I
mean,
thought
now
it
they've
would be
gone
like
past.
weapon storage or something.
Well, can we check?
You can.
Mhm.
So,
I-
do you
I
want to
just-
continue down the passage you ducked into?
Yeah,
As long as it's
I'm
not
fine
too
with
a
long
little
yet.
bit.
Okay, it's not terribly long. So, being careful with your lights. I would say that the orcs and the troll are far enough away that your blades have probably, the glow has subsided a bit. So you
Right.
could have them bare if you want to keep an eye on them.
Okay.
Do try to remind me, because I will forget that your blades glow
Right?
unless I start
Yeah.
doing it a lot, right? So, like,
I forgot about myself.
don't be afraid to ask me, is my blade glowing? As you're, like, exploring someplace. So, not too far down the right-hand jog, you come into, it opens into a larger, and I will just say cavern, because this one is natural, you find. And it's very immediately apparent that this natural cavern has been busted into by this tunnel. So somehow, from the main line, they either knew or detected that there was a larger space, and they cut a tunnel into it, right?
So are they using this to dump all the rock?
And that's exactly what they're doing in this particular chamber.
Right.
Is there is a large pile of rock that is filling the majority of the chamber at this point. There's still space for a lot of rock to be brought in here, but
Okay.
this definitely is at least one place maybe where they're dumping rock.
Yeah.
There's no other indication of anything else going on in this room other than just like this is a dumping hole for the rock.
If that's the case, then they won't be going back down the main corridor until they finish their shift.
Right.
Because they'll be digging the rock, dragging it to here, and then taking the bucket back.
Well, we've got some time.
That gives us
Yeah.
some time. You said it was a cross passage. Is there another
Yeah, there
passage
is a
the other
passage
way?
on the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a,
Let's go
Can we
check
check,
that one.
check
Where
that?
would
Is that to another cavern?
You can, and that leads to another open space. This one's a little bit smaller, but it looks to be being used for the same reason, right?
Okay.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So that relieves a bit of the pressure. We're not going to have a troll coming up behind us, dragging a cart full of rock as we go down the main passage towards where the orcs came from.
Yeah, hopefully they've only got one troll going back and forwards.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
If there's a second one, we're
So-
fucked.
I mean, if they overwork the troll, they might have another troll to replace it. And
Right.
Sorry. I did forget one thing that is in the other side chamber.
Yep.
It is a bit of a smaller chamber, and so they did dump some in here. But I would say Derek probably can tell from the shape of the rocks that it looks like they intentionally went to the other side and started dumping more in the much larger chamber, because it doesn't look like any of this rock was recently mined. What is in this chamber, though, is off to the side. There are... It's the best way to describe this. So there are 6 cauldrons. Iron. They are technically cauldrons, but they're a little bit taller than they are wide. Think more of like a barrel, but it's not made of wood, if that makes sense. It appears to be shaped out of some kind of iron. The tops of these cauldrons have some kind of taut, stretched hide over the tops of them, kind of connected to iron hooks that are around the top.
Okay.
What are those, Derek?
Are they hollow?
Green?
Well,
So if you go up and you kind of rap on one, it sounds like it sounds like what you would expect, like a barrel holding something sounds. Hollow, but full of something, if that makes sense.
when you say it's taut, is it taut horizontal or is it taut
Horizontal,
bulging
across.
up? So
No,
it's
horizontal.
not under pressure.
No, it's not under pressure.
Ah, right. So,
We should check it out.
are they well made?
I mean,
Is this
no,
workmanship?
it looks like cold forged, like hammer on iron, brute force it into shape. They're not great,
Right.
but they're also
Okay.
they're not falling apart.
Okay?
Definitely looks
Can-
like something an orc would make.
Can we check and see what's inside? Without
Slit the top or remove the
well,
thing
if
from one of the
it's got a
hooks.
hide over the top and it's tied down to hold it taut,
Yeah.
can't we just untie the edge and
Yeah.
put it back to have a
Well,
look?
the hide is kind of like attached to these hooks that are
You can
around.
just unhook
you gotta-
it.
you gotta
the
slowly-
rim. But you can just undo one of those, yeah.
Like curtains.
Yeah, kind of.
Pop a couple of
let's
them.
have a look.
Inside is a
ready.
fine-grained black powder.
Oh, I mean, like, I know what it is, but out of character, I have no idea what it's like. What
In
is
character,
it?
I'm not going to know what that is.
No, dwarves don't know
No.
what that is.
Nope.
But what we're going to do is, since
I
we
believe
don't
it
know what
do,
it
they
is,
know.
we take a sample of it.
How does it taste?
Bitter.
And
Okay.
I suggest we take a sample back to Lady Gilraine and ask if she knows what it is.
And if she doesn't, we can
There
bring
is
it
an
to
alchemist
Latvia.
in the camp, yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, take a sample.
Try hitting it with a hammer, see what happens. I'm joking.
Hey, get a torchlight, get close by. Say,
Let me see that firework a minute.
hey, I look for. Hey, drag this in the middle though.
In
like,
actual
the-
fact, would I have any knowledge? Because I am from Dale and we do make fireworks there.
True.
I mean, would it be a power equivalent to it? Because gunpowder and black powder.
Tell you what, I will say, because yeah, Dale does sometimes work with fireworks. It looks very similar to the powder that is used to make fireworks.
Oh.
Bless you.
Bless you.
And that is always treated with great respect in Dale. I mean, I'm not an expert in that, but I know that there are very great restrictions about that. So it's
IRL terms, it's
worrying.
gunpowder, isn't it?
Black powder.
Well,
Yeah.
it would be referred to as blast powder. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I look
How
at
heavy are these
6 of these. The man height.
6 of them. I would say they're at least up to your chest. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot.
And in answer
About
to
the
Sargon's
diameter
question,
of my
too
chest?
heavy for 3 of you might be able to shift a barrel, but it looks like these are something that the troll probably brought in.
Are they
Would have
round?
to have carried
Could
it.
you roll one?
Yeah.
You'd roll it.
You could, but again, the top is just like hide. It's just leather. They're not designed to be rolled.
Mhm.
Would Derek know how close we are to the pinnacle of, where Goran's camp is?
So
Better
at
idea
this
than you,
point,
I think.
and I will we'll take a break after this, but if we go back to the map of Anuminos,
That's where the access is.
you are somewhere over here.
Somewhere around here. Alright, no, sorry, we're over here
No.
now.
You've gone under the river.
We're over here, but the widened tunnel is out to about here now, isn't it? Because
The
where we
widened
met
tunnel
the
is about
widened
where the
tunnel-
river is. Yeah.
Yes. So, these metal things, the metal tubes, could probably be hauled manually up the smaller passage, but if they're getting a troll to carry them, that might be why they're widening it out.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
Is the newer construction toward the barrows or away from it?
No.
So
Effectively, that's where the wider passage is. We're currently
the wider
here.
passage is here.
Yep.
Okay.
Then it
currently
gets
up about-
narrower as it heads to the main cavern that you climb down into. So
Yeah.
Okay.
they are widening the passage
Widening it,
in the
heading
direction.
this way.
They're trying to get the gunpowder
Okay.
underneath the ruins. They're gonna fucking bring
Yeah,
it
they're
down.
gonna blow the ruins out from underneath the Dunedain.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, Derek, I know this goes against everything you know, but if this is the same stuff as alchemists use for fireworks, this would be the biggest firework you've ever seen under the ruins. But
So we can
equally, we know it's here. If we can get our alchemist, the alchemist that the Dunedain have, to trigger this stuff, it would completely destroy this tunnel.
One of them would collapse the tunnel.
I'm not an expert. I don't know.
No, I think if you explain to Derek, and I think Derek probably knows a little bit about fireworks as well. If you guys are figuring that this is the same kind of powder that is used in fireworks, small pouches of this powder would be used in a firework. This is thousands of those pouches
it's
in
like
one container.
It's like a pinch, like a gram for a firework. It's literally like a pinch for a firework.
Right.
Yeah, but if you got
So-
something like that big,
I think it's fairly easy for Derek to understand that one of these containers, if ignited, could easily collapse the tunnel.
It would even collapse.
All
like the
6
dwarven-
of them
It would even collapse a
could
dwarven
potentially
tunnel.
make a large sinkhole underneath Anuminos.
This stuff could destroy dwarven
that's
tunnels.
What I'm
Yeah.
worried about.
So I think we'll take a break there.
At the present moment, it's over here, and that could destroy the barrows as well, if it's set off here.
Nice. Yeah, let's take a break and we'll think about that when we return. Okay,
That would
see
certainly upset the spirits.
see you in 5 or 10 minutes, Twitch. We'll be back soon. Love y'all. And we're
Right,
back.
welcome back. So when we left our company, they were in the bowels of the earth. Maybe not the bowels, but they were in the upper...
The esophagus of the earth.
upper tract of the earth. The esophagus of the earth, sure.
There you go.
Underneath the ruins of Enumenos and the Edane Barrows. And they had just discovered what I think they worked out to be some massive containers of blast powder. So what are we going to do?
Maybe bring
Well-
those barrels to the cross section and blow it there.
Move.
Well,
right,
I don't
it's
know how to
moving
do
them.
it. Well,
I don't know how to do
we
it.
don't know how to do it. This is the problem. I know something about fireworks, but I don't. You've got to keep light away,
So
torches away from them. But I don't know
maybe
how
fire.
to blow them up.
Maybe fire makes it work. I don't know, but it could be a clue. It could be a
you
clue
all
in the
know
name.
that fire makes it work. You know enough about fireworks to know that.
Yes.
I mean, they're literally called
Fire will make
fireworks.
it work,
Fire will
but-
make it work.
But
But how?
I don't know how to blow it up when I'm not here.
Right, exactly.
What if somehow we pour one over and kind of spill it?
Make a
Where we're
fuse.
going through, use the flare and
Make
just
a
set it
fuse.
off, and it kind of.
Well,
And boom.
why don't we just wait here until they've ended their shift? Because we know they're not dumping the stone in this chamber now.
Right?
hmm
If we
Well,
wait
you
here
think
until
You're
they've
fairly certain.
Well, you said the stone that was dumped in here
Is
was
older.
old. It's not
Yeah.
recent. Yeah. And if this is blasting powder, they're probably not going to want to have a troll dumping stone in here willy-nilly.
No.
So, I'd suggest just waiting until they finish their session and gone away, and then we go back and tell the Dunedain and their alchemist and find out from their alchemist.
Everybody make an awareness test for me.
Okay.
Yep.
This is probably something coming to check to make sure the blasting
Aye.
powder is okay.
Oh, somebody's got a Gandalf rune.
Yeah, we're lucky today.
My awareness is not great.
Big fail for me again.
Uh-oh, there's an eye.
Oh, there's... oh, a couple of bad rolls here.
Oh, good God.
Oh, there's another eye.
That's well creepy, I love it.
Yeah.
This is not good.
That was everybody? Okay, so as
Hang
you
on,
all are in the
Hang
chamber.
on. The second
Go ahead, go
die.
ahead.
The second die was on a roll where it wasn't actually used, so therefore it doesn't
Was it?
apply. Yes.
No, you're right. You're correct. I will remove that.
Thank you. We're one better.
Yeah, we're surviving by one.
Oh, boy.
I will tell you, you've already doubled your initial value.
Oh,
Now, doesn't necessarily mean much, but
doesn't mean much for
Yes.
now. Okay.
Right?
okay. So I did remove one, so you're back
Thank
down
you.
to 7.
Whatever we're down
Oh
to.
well, whatever. You're down to whatever. You just heard it, but that's fine. That doesn't mean much to you.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Even if we
Okay,
know the
so-
number, we don't know what the number means. We don't know what the scale
Yeah,
is.
you don't know what it means. You don't know what
Could
it
be
means.
7 out of 10,
Alright,
could be 7
so-
out of 100.
Right. So Orlan and Arathil, correct? Yes. You both hear somebody coming up the tunnel, not necessarily towards your little side chamber, but you hear them arguing. Basically along the lines of, I don't want to make the 2-hour walk all the way back to camp. Let's just duck in here and hide it.
I hastily
pleasure.
shut my lantern.
Arrow.
Mhm.
And the other voice is like, yeah, nobody checks on the barrels. It should be okay in that stone pile for a bit.
Right. So, if that's what you've heard, presumably those who heard it are gesturing as either side of the doorway. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gesturing hard.
Yeah,
Hard.
yeah.
They're coming here. They're coming here.
I'm like,
Okay.
All right. So as you all are waiting, they also say, probably as they step into the room, the troll will be along with the first bucket in a little bit. And then we can, think about how we're gonna, and then they're even with you. They're walking into the room. You all will have surprise, essentially.
Nice.
We're not going to do volleys because you're in an enclosed area.
Right.
Okay.
So let me move us to the combat chart.
Just wait till they move past. As soon as they're past, fucking swing it with a thing it.
Well, I'm gonna try and get into the tunnel to stop them running back down the tunnel. I remember that damn bitch running away.
Yeah. Good shout. Good shout, Dave.
Yeah, kill them before they can alert the others.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Good shout.
do we see what they're bringing in?
Find that out when Derek's killed them, please.
Cool tokens.
Right?
Okay, so let me put everybody in combat.
I love the orc.
I love the tokens. Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah.
Not doing opening volleys. So we're in close combat. You guys can set your stance and you can do what you want to do.
They're gonna go charge ready.
10
Make
toes
sure
over.
and change the stance on your toe.
10 toes over the line, like. Stance is
Remember, you
right
gotta
click,
right
and then.
Yep.
How do you see? Oh yeah, it's on the left, isn't it? Got it.
On the left-hand side. Yep. Forward,
Okay,
open, defensive,
And
rearward.
I'm moving into the doorway and cheering them on quietly.
Okay.
You can do it.
So I mean, if you want to move in there, you can. The quietly isn't going to work, but you guys outnumber them, so you're going to be able to determine engagements.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you have two orcs. They do have to engage different people. So who's getting engaged? I assume Derek.
Me, come on, you filthy bastard!
Just try and
maybe.
stop him.
Try and stop me.
If he could, he'd be taking both of them.
I will try and take both of them.
Ugh,
But
why
Derek
did
and
they
Aerithel maybe?
spin like that? Ugh.
I think it's a
Hang
facing.
on.
Facing.
It's a facing.
Yeah.
It's a facing.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to fix that in the base tokens later. I'm not gonna worry about it now. Okay, so yeah, so you've got oh, you know what? That's why. Duh.
Hmm?
I'm not using the correct tokens.
Ah. Oof, magic! They disappeared.
Right?
We won the fight.
What a relief.
That's better. I like my tokens.
Yeah.
Maybe Orlon, because
I like it.
The Orc's Bane.
The official art is fucking cool. Like.
Yeah, I'll be in the front.
Mm.
Yeah. So I will be in front.
Okay, so like I said, I assume one is engaging Derek. Is the other one engaging Aerithil?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the order it's given me, Derek, you're first.
Come on. So I'm just going to be doing the old swing with the thing. So where is it? Just click on the weapon, don't you?
Yep.
I'm going two-handed,
Correct.
baby.
The name of the weapon, not the icon.
Yep. I'm going two-handed.
Make sure you only have that one equipped as well. Because especially now some of
It's
you
a
have
success.
special things on your weapons.
Yep.
Okay. So
I think the way you set my weapons up is you made one of them have 0 weight, so it doesn't matter. I can have them equipped all at the same time. The one-handed and the
No,
two-handed.
but even so, some of you now, not Derek yet, but some of you have special effects on your weapons.
Mhm.
So even if something is marked as 0, whichever one-handed or two-handed you have equipped, you want to make sure you actually have that equipped, because they have different stats.
Right.
It shouldn't apply to Derek right now. You should still be fine, but I think at this point, Derek or Egil, but I know that Sargon, Arathil, and Ortolan all have special effects on their weapons.
I have special effects on my weapon. It's long-hafted. No, it's not long-hafted. It's, what is it? No, long-hafted is just that it's a hand and a half. What's it called? There's a name for it when it's not Grievous. Not Fail. What's the other one? Oh, it is Grievous. It's Grievous. It's Grievous.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, but the Grievous effect doesn't affect other weapons, so that's fine.
Yep.
You just increase
And
its
I have that on
damage,
one-handed and two-handed, don't I?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
7 damage.
So 7 damage.
Pitiful.
Okay. Yeah, keeping in mind you haven't killed it, how do you strike this orc?
I mean, how close to killed is he?
He's hurt.
Yeah, I would say he's wearing some sort of stiffened leather with like rings or plates or something on it, and I just crack the armor. But the axe goes into the armor so hard that you figure that's the armor. The armor actually gets pushed in, and the two pieces of the armor push into his skin, so his armor's actually stuck into his chest.
Okay, nice. Yeah, and it's definitely enough to draw blood. He is bleeding.
Good shit.
That is you. I gotta pop this out. That'll help. Orlan.
Yeah.
Now you're not engaged, so you can attack either one.
Yeah. So I will go and strike at the one that Arthur is engaging at the moment. So I will
Okay.
strike him. Let's see. Still two-handed. And roll. Ooh.
Okay.
Great result.
Excellent. Let's see. I will use I will add a heavy blow. I will do with that.
Oh yeah.
The Bane does do things, but it's not just additional damage. Bane.
Okay.
The Bane effect basically means that sometimes the special ability that the Bane is connected to is more effective against that type of creature.
Okay.
In this case, with Estelle, I believe it's superior.
Superior keenness, so 9
Keen?
plus, keen is superior.
So
keen.
against an orc, it actually causes an injury on an 8 because your valor is 2. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
for the valor. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I have a spell
But
failed, which
He didn't roll an 8. He rolled a 4 on the fate die,
Okay.
so there's no piercing blow.
Okay.
Still 11 damage.
11 damage,
is
though.
Nothing to shake a stick at.
yeah.
And he sees the blade glowing at him. Like, fuck.
This one is rocked by your attack. Not killed, but rocked very hard. Why don't you describe how you attack it?
Yeah, so
Keeping in mind it's engaged with Arathil.
Yeah, so I see. So we've all been. Airfield and Derek begins to go out from the corners of the room to ambush them, and then I go further in the middle of the two of the hallway, and I strike at his stomach area, giving him a gash around his stomach area.
And your blade flashing what color?
Yes,
As it glows.
yeah, I will say light blue.
Like Sting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Love it.
That brings us to Arathil.
Right. Is Aranar lighted up? The
No.
scroll would be close enough? Okay, good. So he's going to
Oh shit! What?
one thing at a
Oh
time.
damn!
So he's going to go ahead and roll his attack here. And there we go.
Ooh, once again, I'm
hello.
ready.
Yes.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, extraordinary success. Yeah, double heavy blow, submit.
Oh, piercing blow.
Yeah, the 22
Yeah,
points of damage.
it doesn't really matter that it's a piercing blow at this point, but
19
we'll go
points,
ahead and
sorry.
roll its protection. Oh, look, it's wounded. On top of taking 22 damage. Or 19 damage.
Right?
So, how do you kill it?
Yeah, he just, just an overhand strike. Just, kind of that sweep behind and then bring it over and just cleaves him at the helm.
Nice.
Okay, sweep behind. So, yeah, you step forward, and I'm imagining you, like, sweeping its leg and kind of pitching it up as you bring the blade around and decapitate it.
Beautiful.
As it falls. Yeah, nice. Okay, so... Egil, you've just seen your companions utterly destroy one of these orcs.
Yes.
And the other one
I'm
is
in the
clearly
doorway
hurt.
to try and stop the other one getting away.
Fair.
Can I do that and still attack it, or
you absolutely can?
Okay, in that case, I will try and attack it because there's no need to enhearten people.
No, this fight is won.
And we need to kill this thing as
quickly as possible, aye. Before it alerts its friends.
I think I can only use my sword one-handed because I've got the lantern, so...
Correct. You do need to hold the lantern up so everybody has enough light.
Oh, that's good.
So I need to click on that one. Is it right-click on it?
To roll
you should just be able to
left
click on the name, not the icon, the name.
Right.
To start a roll.
On the name of the weapon.
First of all, I would unequip everything except the two-handed longsword.
Yep.
Just to get used to that.
One-handed longsword.
Oh, one-handed, right? Because you're using it one-handed. Yeah. So I would click on where it says equipped for two-handed and spear.
Okay.
And then just regular old left click on longsword one-handed after targeting a token.
Just on the name. So target is.
Hover over the enemy and hit T on your keyboard.
Got it. Okay. Longsword, and let's see whether I hit it.
Ooh. But an eye during combat doesn't
do
increase the eye rating. No.
Just an automatic failure, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, no. Actually, in combat, it just counts as a 0. If you had
But
enough,
you still get enough on the d6s to succeed.
Dice, you could still potentially strike.
Oh, okay.
So yes, unfortunately, Egil, as you step forward to strike at this orc,
I catch my arm on the lantern and it kind of knocks my blow out of the way. It was a choice of either kind of letting the light go out or hitting it, and I moved my sword out of the way.
Nice. Okay, Sargon.
As he's seeing everybody just flashing, moving about, and he's kind of looking with his arrow, and he sees Derek's right there, and he's like, "There's enough room, I can still see the head," and he goes clean, shooting right above Derek's head.
Mm-hmm.
Equipped.
Oh,
wow! Piercing blow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. So protection roll for the orc. Jeez. I don't know what's going on with my nose.
Oh, yeah.
Bless you.
Bless you.
You're obviously allergic to Gandalf runes.
Yeah, I guess. Jeez. Okay, the orc is protected, but you still do 4 points of damage, which I believe is enough. Oh no, he's still up. So how do you hit him?
As he's trying to, with all the combat, and Derek is just kind of fighting with the guy, and he's just hopefully he doesn't shoot him back in the head. It's enough where as he's going around there, he can Derek sees something going over his head, whizzes, and as the orc is fighting him, is a big slash against its face and hits right behind him.
Like Xerxes with a spear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I really thought you guys would have taken down 2 orcs instantly,
So did I.
but
No, not when you can roll tower on roads. Sorry,
yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I could
gotta,
build it, but it rolled high though.
Oh, my
I gotta
you know,
play it the way this would happen. So it's the orc's turn. He turns to run and sees that Egil is blocking his way, which you can only do because you outnumber him. But you do successfully do. However, that doesn't stop him from calling out.
yeah, I know.
And he raises one hand and yells, "Intruders!" And you just hear it echo.
Oh, fuck.
And you're fairly certain that it definitely goes far enough for the remaining orcs. How many did I say there were?
20.
20
20 plus
orcs.
Here's the thing, though. We could bottleneck them.
Not
If we bottleneck them, we can fight 2 at a time. We can win them. It's a war of attrition, man.
Not 2. The hallway I've already stated is 4
wide.
people wide.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to try, you could potentially bottleneck them.
We could bottleneck them, boys.
To 4 orcs or 2 orcs and a troll at a time.
Yep.
But if the rest of them have ranged weapons, they're going to be able to attack you.
Yeah.
Well, we got a big boom right there. Just put something in something. Just let it run.
So
I don't think that's
So
wise.
He calls out.
I don't think that's wise.
He calls out and turns back around and will take a swing at Derek with his scimitar.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Derek needs to make a protection test, so you can roll just in the chat window. Where
Can I
it says
spend a
you
hope
need
on it?
Protection test. I believe if you activate it, spending a hope on it is one of the things. Yeah.
Yep, it lets me.
It's protected.
You are
I
protected,
am protected. 23. Wow.
but you are still going to take the damage.
What was it? 3.
3. Yeah.
I don't need to do that. That's automatic. Yeah, it's automatic.
I took care of it for you. Yeah. Okay. So that's that round.
Now I get to finish them off.
Oh boy.
Now we go back to Derek.
Okay, I reckon I've got him. I'm not going to spend anything on it. I reckon I've got him.
Oh, there you go.
blow.
Pierce the blow. Oh, yeah.
Oh no, that is a piercing blow.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You still need to pick your great success.
Oh yeah, so I do.
bonus.
So I've got heavy blow, fend off, or shield thrust. Pushed back instead of damage. Nah, I'll do heavy blow. 15 damage,
That'll do
sir.
it.
That should do it, eh?
Oh, it's not a piercing blow.
No, I was reading somebody else. It was the one above it.
Yeah. Still, 15 damage is going to kill him. How do you kill him?
No, I did get a piercing blow because it let me choose an effect.
No, that's a
That's
great
not-
success.
that's
a
a great-
piercing
that's a
blow
great
is if you
rank,
roll a 10 or a Gandalf rune and it could do a wound.
I think it's much like Arathil's one. It's the overhead 45-degree one.
Hmm.
And this is the same
like
one
that.
this is the same one that was hitting the armor there, and had his armor kind of split. I reckon I hit him there again, and it just completely ruptures the rest of the armor, and it breaks his collarbone and 3 ribs,
Yeah.
and just opens him right up.
Nice.
Okay. So you have defeated those 2 orcs,
Yeah.
but
The
you're
other 18
fairly
are
certain
coming.
that the rest of the work party has heard the call.
Yeah.
You're also fairly certain that nobody from the other end will have heard it, because these 2 orcs mentioned something about it being a
2-hour
2-hour
walk.
hike.
Aye.
Ooh.
Yeah.
to wherever their camp is or wherever they came from.
Come on, boys, let's bottleneck it. We can do this.
Yeah. So I go in front and I say, we need to run now.
Well, is that
We don't need to run. They're coming. We don't need to run. They'll
Now,
come.
where are we going to go?
Can
They're
all of
blocking
us
our way out.
lift? Can we lift one of us lift the open barrel we have?
We can
shove it in the middle of that tunnel, and as soon as they come, like just dump it that way. As soon as they run it up, light it on fire. And
That's going to kill us all, though. That's going to kill all of us as well.
Yeah.
We can make it to the cross section before the hold us there.
That's what we need to do. Make our stand on the cross section.
Hit the cross section and just go another direction.
Yeah, we need to go towards where they came from in the first place.
But if we find somewhere that's one dwarf wide, I'm turning round and I'm bottlenecking them.
Mm-hmm.
Live to fight another day, Derek. Let's go.
Okay. So
What were
you're
they
fleeing.
carrying, by the way?
We're
You
not
can take a
retreating, we're
minute to
advancing in a
check.
different direction.
They're
Were they
Brian,
carrying anything in their hands?
they're fleeing. I'm looking for a place to bottleneck.
They'd have dropped it.
No, they had weapons in their hands.
Oh, I see. Right. Fine.
You're gonna have to search their body if you want to find.
No, in that case, not worth waiting.
Nope.
Okay.
But which way are we running?
We're running
Just
where they
to
came
the
from.
crossroads?
To the crossroads.
Well,
and to the
It sounds like Orlan's just like out, like down the main tunnel away, like basically towards where they came from.
Mm-hmm. To then hit another side.
And
okay.
No.
Yeah, because I see everyone is following me, and I tell them.
Is it? Can you knock one of the barrels over?
I reckon I could
a
knock
few
one
of
over.
you should be able to shift one of the barrels. Yes.
No, because my plan is if we knock one of the barrels over, get in one of those little things.
We don't know how to use it.
And it's too dangerous. It would kill us all.
Yeah.
We can't just randomly let it off here.
Know is it's dangerous stuff, and you don't mess around with it near naked flames. I don't know any more than that.
We need an alchemist to advise us on this stuff.
And even clothes flames.
Unless you've got a skill or something in your history that lets you know, I don't think we can use it.
So I need a decision very soon. Are we fleeing, or are we heading to the main hallway to try and fight?
They're fleeing.
I say flee.
I am retreating to find a better place to bottleneck.
Yeah, I was going to say retreat to a strategic position.
Okay.
We're not going to find a better place to bottleneck because the only narrow passage is that way. They've come up somewhere that's big enough for a troll. So let's just
right
that way and hope that it doesn't take us into an orc nest.
So you all are strategically retreating.
Right.
Yes.
You are strategically changing positions.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. I'll say that your decision was made quick enough that you're able to get to the cross passage, the main passage, shall we say, and head in the direction that they came from. You know that it's at least 2 hours walk until you run into wherever they came from.
Yeah.
So you start going. I'm assuming as fast as you can go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
while that we're running, I'm asking Derek, how fast can trolls run? Do they run as fast as orcs?
Yeah, they've got big long legs. Yeah, they do.
They run faster.
Arathil knows trolls better than I do, actually.
Lawmaster, do they run as fast as orcs? Given that they're in a relatively low passage?
I need you all to make an athletics test.
Ooh.
All right.
Athletics check.
Favored on
Done
this.
these so far today.
Where is my athletics? There we go. Just checking my skills if I can use anything here at the point of.
Oh.
Can I add my hope point to it?
Come on, the Gandalf.
You can always use hope.
I will spend hope for magical success from this, as I get as light as the wind.
Okay.
So did I do that again?
So you're going to start an athletics test, but then you're going to spend hope, and you're also going to select magical success.
Yeah, I found it now. There we go. And roll.
Okay. So, you all, again, explain how you use this magic to help you, Orlan.
So as I'm running, suddenly my feet feels more light, or maybe I slide across the surface like a skating. Suddenly I just skate along the surface faster and faster and faster as I do momentum.
Okay. So, you all are going, and you are going as fast as you can. Egil, Sargon, and Erithil, I need you all to again take a point of fatigue as you push yourself to keep up with your companions and stay ahead of this force. And we will say that you are all chugging along for a decent amount of time. Say 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes, before suddenly you realize you're not in a worked tunnel anymore.
Oh.
You are now in a cavern that starts to open up, and also there are other directions you can go. You have stumbled into an underground natural complex of some kind.
Oh boy.
Okay.
And as you continue forward, Erithil,
Yes.
your blade begins to glow.
Oh boy.
In what direction was the glow?
So yeah, he kind of pulls it a little bit, and he, will signal the others. Troll. Not near, not far, but troll.
Okay.
Is there a way that you can tell which way? Like, is the glow stronger in one
No,
direction?
it doesn't work like that.
No, I was just asking. No.
Right
Warmer,
It's a fair
warmer,
question,
colder,
but it
colder,
doesn't.
colder, warmer,
doesn't work
warmer,
like
warmer.
It's like a mix.
It changes colors based on distance. That'd be funny. But no.
Is there a route off left or right?
There are many directions you can go. So what I will let you do is, at this point, since we're in kind of an open cavern complex, I'm going to need someone, and this is very similar to what you did back in the Goblin Lair. Someone is going to need to make an Explorer test. And then we will see what happens. So, well, Sargon will raise his hand.
I got like 4.
Yeah, that's you then, I think.
Yeah, you.
Now, are you attempting to find this troll, or are you trying to avoid it?
I'm trying to avoid it.
Okay.
Yes.
Is your goal to continue kind of in the general direction that the main tunnel was coming from? Or are you just going off into the dark and trying to find a safe haven?
Probably.
Like, what's your mindset as you're leading your friends through these caverns?
Hopefully a safe haven out of this area.
Okay. So after about a half an hour, so you're now about an hour deep into the caverns, at some point along the way, what's the sword's name again? I'm sorry, Marshall. Aranar. At some point along the way, Aranar has ceased glowing. It was glowing dimly for a bit, but it is no longer glowing at this point. Neither is Estelle. And you come into a cavern, a large cavern, that has a pool in the middle of it. This pool assumingly, Egil is still toting the lantern.
Yes. Yep.
This pool glitters in Egil's lantern light and shimmers in a way that seems to indicate that there might be something in it. There's no indication of orc or troll about, no construction. It's just a natural cavern.
Is it a dead end, or is there another? Or is there another exit?
So there is a bit of loose stone and scree on the ground. It does appear to be a dead end, but as I said, there's some kind of shimmering or glittering in the pool.
Head toward it.
Well, I think we need to stop here and rest because we've been running for some considerable time. And while we rest, I will hold the lantern so that they can investigate the pool.
The swords have stopped glowing, but my face is glowing because I've been running.
Right?
Yeah.
Very dangerous over short distances.
Yes, exactly.
Not built for long distance running.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out the pool and see what's in it.
Okay. Well, again, as you approach the pool with Egil's light, you can see that the base of the pool, it's very clear, but the base of the pool, at least at your end of the pool, looks to be stone. It does seem to get darker the further away from you it is. But again, there's still a bit of that occasional shimmer. It's difficult to say. You might have to go for a swim.
Hang on a second. I'm going to I'm going to tell them what I'm doing. I'm going to shutter the lantern and see whether there's actually light coming through the water.
If it's just reflected.
Having shuttered your lantern, it becomes apparent very quickly there is light coming from the water.
Oh boy.
The shimmer appears to be a source of light. Beyond that, who can say?
Wow.
I look at everybody. It's like
up from under the water.
Someone's going for a
anybody
swim.
want to go for a swim? I'm putting my stuff to the side and leaving my blade.
I think we need somebody who's good at athletics to check.
I'm
not a
not.
natural athlete.
It takes me like an hour and a half to get out this armor, and then an hour and a half to get it back in. I'm not going for a swim.
And
I can
our
do it.
airmail will do it.
I mean, it's like, you see Sargon already putting the stuff to the side.
Dwarves are no built for swimming. We can float.
Go ahead, Sargon,
But we're
make
no
the
built
roll.
for
Whoever
swimming.
wants to go.
Does it look like daylight, or does it look like the sort of magical light that was coming off those swords?
Give me. Why are we still in the combat rounds? Let's get out of here.
I don't know. I'm gonna use my hope point. And I'm gonna use my little gift, magical gift.
When I see Sargon takes off his...
Egil
things,
asked
and
a
I will
good
do the same.
question. Egil, I will let you roll insight
Very good.
to try to determine what type of light it is.
Oh no.
Difficult to say. So Sargon, yeah, go ahead and make your roll. Okay. Magical success.
Oh.
Would you like to describe how the magic of the world assists you in swimming?
As like, I'm touching the water, I'm sitting there kind of just feeling it, and I can feel the water kind of like envelop my body, and it kind of gives like a second skin a little bit.
Oh,
That makes it a little
Okay.
easier for me to swim
like that.
through it.
More makes you aerodynamic.
Yep.
Hydrodynamic.
Hydrodynamic. Sorry,
So-
David. I was right on it.
Hydro.
So
hero
you-
football hair.
you get in the water and you swim out. Again, the pool is not small. I wouldn't call it a lake, but it's a pond, may be more appropriate. But then you get to a certain point where you are, I'm assuming, following the light, right?
Yes,
So you'll have
yes.
to
Mhm.
dive under, and you do find very quickly that there is a bit of a tunnel that is lined with crystals of some kind.
Mhm.
But the crystals, as you're swimming, assuming you're going into the tunnel,
Yeah.
okay, the crystals are not themselves lit. They seem to be reflecting and refracting the light because you got a magical success, I'm going to say with no trouble, you're able to find the end of the tunnel. And it takes you a little bit of time, not long enough for, just to point out, anyone to necessarily drown, but it takes you a little bit of time, and you come up in another pool in a similar cavern. But you see very quickly that kind of almost in front of you when you come up, the cavern opens, and you can see daylight.
Okay, so I noticed that, and I swim back, and like I just like, all right, well I found a way out. We follow a little tunnel. Like he think the little one might need a little help, but there is a way to go out. There's an entryway out.
Oh wait, let me revise. Not daylight. Starlight.
Starlight.
Yeah.
Starlight. So it's nighttime, but it's like basically like way out.
I'm not gonna get through that in this armor or carrying this armor.
Yeah, carrying the armor.
Sargon
would
is
be-
fairly certain you could get through.
I'm gonna have to leave my armor
Again,
behind.
it's going to be a similar thing where if you fail, you're going to take some fatigue, but you will be able to get through.
with my armor.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're heroes.
Yeah.
This is heroic play.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I-
I'll just
I
spend the
would say
hope
that,
anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
May the plot be with you, Derek.
Right. If you want to go this way, you don't have to.
The green will help you.
You could always
Water-
turn back around
water-
and start exploring some more.
I mean, I was ready to bottleneck them, but I'm surrounded by men.
By the
and
way, Arathil, your sword is glowing again.
elves. Oh.
We need to go.
Okay, we have to go. Let's go. Let's
I
go.
just
Let's
made
go.
the decision.
Okay. I will wait till last and then shutter my lantern and
I think you might
blow it out.
you
And
You might be second last, mate.
Yeah, you'll have to put it out. Yeah.
Yep.
We can assume that dwarves are clever enough to make oil reservoirs that are
Yeah.
waterproof.
No.
Okay, so athletics test for all of us and more.
If you're
fatigue
going
if we
to
fail.
escape, yes, athletics tests,
I'm
please.
just spend a hope on mine.
Ah, dang it.
Right?
I was
Orlan,
wondering.
that's a point of fatigue.
Point of fatigue. Point of fatigue.
Oh wait, what kind of armor are you wearing?
I'm wearing the leather corselet.
That's a point of fatigue.
Point of fatigue.
Ooh. Bingo.
Derek. Wow.
Oh, I made it.
Use my hope.
Airmail did it.
With a
It's a
great
doggy paddle.
success.
He's doggy paddling.
Oh wait, no, I was looking way up above. Still though,
mine
okay,
was a
regular
success.
success. That's good. Egil got an automatic success. What kind of armor is Egil wearing?
I'm wearing a leather corselet,
Okay.
which
And
is, light
Arathil
load.
is wearing chain or leather.
No, he's wearing leather. Just straight leather
Okay.
armor.
Arathil is wearing
Or
leather.
actually,
That's
leather
fine.
corselet, but it's cunning make, so it's lighter.
Yep, so's mine.
Yeah, leather that's the important thing right now. So, did Sargon roll?
leather.
Do I have to re-roll it again because I got the success earlier, or do you want me to do it again?
Oh yeah, no, you've got magical success. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
So everybody's in leather except for Derek.
Yeah. I had to roll
Derek's in
fatigue for
chain,
that.
right? Oliver.
I think
Derek
Derek's
wears
in
chain?
plate, mate.
Is Derek in plate?
I'm in a coat of mail
Coat of mail. That's
So it's
chain,
chain,
essentially.
aye.
Yeah.
Yeah, then,
Okay.
and a helm.
It's,
got five-
it's still the heaviest armor.
I've got
but
5
it's-
dice of
yeah.
armor on. Yeah, it's a lot.
Right. So with one success, you resist some of the fatigue, but you're still going to take a point of fatigue because
Yeah,
you're
fair.
wearing heavy armor.
Yeah, fair.
I would have given you 2 had you failed. Everybody else would have taken 1 if they failed. So Orlan, well, is Orlan in mail or?
No,
Leather.
So I took 1 fatigue.
leather.
Oh, right. So Orlan takes 1 point of fatigue because he's in
Yeah.
leather.
Hmm.
And you all emerge in this secondary chamber. I will say, while you're in the water, Egil went last.
Yes.
while Eagle's in the water, you actually hear something shouting behind you. It's muffled because you're underwater.
Yep.
But it's like, if you guys can make that out. Nothing here, move on. It was distorted.
I'm not swimming back to hear what they said.
No.
Yeah.
And although Arathil's blade is still glowing when you surface in the other chamber, that glow begins to dim until it finally goes out. Assumingly, Ego will relight the lantern once on the other side.
Yep.
And yeah, so you find yourselves in a smallish cave with this pool and these crystals. And as I said, there is starlight and moonlight streaming in through the opening of the cave. The opening itself is somewhat obscured by some growth. You're not quite sure at this point how far from Anuminas you are, because you were traveling for about an hour or so.
So,
and I
then
think
running.
that's where... Yeah, and then running
Right.
quite a bit more. Sorry, strategically retreating.
strategically
Exactly.
retreating.
Looking for better places to act
Fight
from.
from, yeah.
So I think we'll call it there for today.
Okay.
And next session we'll see where we
So,
go from there.
Before we do call it and get XP,
Uh-huh.
can I spend one of the 5 hope points to get hope back? The fellowship points.
Oh yeah.
You have to, if you all want to take a rest,
Oh, it's only when
in
you're
this
resting you
cave.
do it.
hmm
you can.
I mean, those points go to waste if we don't use them now, eh?
Yeah.
Well, I think somebody needs to
Well,
check.
they don't go to waste. You
on
just
the other
have
side of
5
the
at
growth.
the beginning of the next session.
I think
Right.
we need somebody to scout outside the cave to see where we are.
Okay, so
if-
before we call it today, I will let you do that and step
think-
outside the cave and take a look around. And I will let you take a rest in the cave should you
Okay.
choose to.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
If it looks like it's safe to take a rest in the cave, we can, because I
Right.
don't know about the rest of you, I'm exhausted. But
It's a
So
short
I'm
rest,
going
yeah?
to want. Well, I mean, I'll take explore, I'll take scan, I'll take
Awareness?
travel.
I've got
Actually, travel might make more sense
Yeah,
for trying
travel
to
is the
determine
best one.
where you
I've
are.
got 3 and favoured in travel. I'll roll that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
There you
usually
go.
have you traveling anyways, bud.
And I'll
So yeah,
spend.
why don't you step outside of the cave, get some height, and
I'm
make a
not gonna
travel
spend it.
check.
I'm going to spend
Hang
1
on,
hope.
hang
I'm
on.
about,
Less
Get some
of the
practice,
height
get some height.
jokes, please.
about to get some hope back, so I'll
It is
spend
there.
1.
Oh man, that was almost a Gandalf room.
28.
Okay, so with a great success, I'll tell you that you can fairly well tell that you are a decent distance from Anuminas. You are in the wilderness. You're not along the King's Road, but you are to the northeast of Anuminas. I will also tell you, as you step outside the cave and kind of scan around, you do see what looks to be the smoke from several fires
Oh,
in the distance.
so we're near some people. Something. Some.
Or orcs.
Mhm.
The orc camp,
Mm,
maybe.
Or an orc
yeah.
encampment.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So can
So
we
I think
So we'll leave that for
retreat-
next time.
can we hit the rest
Yeah.
button? Can we?
If you're going to take a rest in the cave, you can.
A short.
I
Yeah.
think if the cave looks
A short rest.
reasonably well camouflaged, then I think we should take a
That
rest.
should be all right.
The
Yeah.
entrance to the cave is fairly well camouflaged. It doesn't look like anything has used this cave in a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
we should be able to
It
go
doesn't
there.
appear to be the den of an animal. There are some mushrooms growing in the cave, in some soil that's kind of in one corner.
Your safe, David.
There. I mean, if we're honest, there probably are some small animal bones here and there on the ground. This may once have been used as a lair or a den by an animal. The opening itself is. Derek doesn't, not trying to make a joke, but everyone else would have to stoop to get out through the opening.
So it's perfect size then.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
Okay.
you assume it's fairly safe. I mean, that doesn't mean that there won't be, some quote-unquote encounter checks if you camp here, but you certainly can camp here.
So we're doing a prolonged
want.
rest.
Yeah, let's do a long
If you
rest.
want.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I would suggest that we wait until dawn before trying to move, because the orcs are going to be looking for
Active
people
in the night.
in the
Aye.
cave,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
active.
And we saw those five.
If you're going to wait until
as well.
dawn, that's definitely a prolonged rest.
Okay.
So everybody can go ahead and hit prolonged rest.
Um.
You only have 5 fellowship points, and you all have definitely spent more than 5 points, it looks
I'm
like.
ready
So
for it.
you all...
Is everybody using one? Yeah.
I'm gonna pick one.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I'm missing
Yep.
one.
Everybody's going to use 1? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back to full health though.
Back to full health.
And nobody's wounded, so we don't have to worry about that.
Right.
So,
Recover any
and-
fatigue or not?
you do recover a point of fatigue per prolonged rest,
Yep.
I
Good.
think
I'm not
so,
there.
yeah.
Pretty good.
Nice.
I believe. Let's just say that for now. It might be more, but for now, let's just say 1. I'll look up the rules
think
before we
one's
start
okay.
next time.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then I
Fantastic.
will apply everyone's
XP.
Experience?
Woo!
Yay.
Lovely.
What?
Sweet.
We'll have to see what that rising eye rating means.
Oh boy.
How high
So-
is that's the
Find
problem.
out soon. Eh?
As we end the session, you make a small camp. Are you going to do a hot camp or a cold camp?
I think a cold camp would be wise.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes.
No fire.
Mhm.
Okay.
No fire.
We
So
have
cold
just
camp-
seen rising smoke in the starlight.
Right.
We do not wish to anybody else to see rising smoke in the
That's fair.
starlight.
So yeah, we will end the session with you camping out in the small cave until dawn on the 17th. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be the 17th of Chithing.
Yeah, because it's a whole day. Because we went
Yeah.
to the underground, and it's
Yep.
about dawn to be the next day.
Fantastic.
And then we'll decide what to do from there.
Everyone's done a
We're-
journal entry
Excellent.
now, eh?
believe
Everyone
so.
has done a journal entry, so
I
whoever
think-
wants to do it next time, we
I
can
think-
talk about
I
that.
think I'll do another one. David's done 2. I'll be next. to
Okay,
do
so
2.
Derek will do it for
I'll
next
do the
session.
next one,
Great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I didn't kill all these orcs in the freaking troll.
It's going to be a frustrated. It's going to be a very frustrated
I
journal
know.
entry. I
He's like
think.
a lot of mad symbols. Like
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
it's gonna be a lot of meeting words about Orlon.
Yeah.
All the time.
maybe not mean. Mean might be a bit of a stretch. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
He's annoyed. He'd be annoyed. He'd be
Annoyed at least, yeah.
annoyed.
Right. Okay. So thank you very much, Brian, for another fantastic session, and thank you, boys, for another great game. It's a pleasure as always. Looking forward to the next one in 2 weeks, and to our wonderful viewers on Twitch and YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. You are wonderful, and we love you. We're RxOliver and the gang. Good night.